Hi, welcome in for everybody tuning in on the YouTube stream. It's so good to have you in here with us today. We are already in the middle of our first debate with the first Trump supporter of the day. Their name is Alexis. I'm going to go and catch you guys up to speed. Then we're going to roll the clip if you know what I mean. So Alexis is having a conversation with us about how she would feel if a man were to walk into a woman's or teenage girl's changing room to perv on them while they're naked and what the consequences should be. So just to clarify, I mean, how long do you think, because you said that a man, if they were to perv on changing naked teenagers without their consent, they should go to jail. How long do you think they should go to jail for?
Pretty long time.
Pretty long time, okay. So I have a question. So what if a man did this and he got away with it and then he ran for a public office? Like maybe he wanted to be a congressman, a senator, or even like the president. Would you ever vote for them?
I can see where you're pulling this conversation.
Well, I'm just asking you if a man ever did this. I mean, I like walked into the changing room of naked teenagers, talked about how good they looked, and boasted about how no men were in there and how they could get away with it. Would you ever like vote for them if they turned around and ran for a public office?
So, on this thing about Donald Trump being an alleged.
Oh, Donald Trump hasn't done this. He's a good man. He would never do this. This is like purely hypothetical.
Well, you said this in your last thing with that.
You probably misheard me.
Okay.
Right. So if somebody did do this and ran for a public office, would you ever vote for them? Would you ever support them?
No.
No. Okay. Under any conditions ever?
I mean, if it was like proved and true.
Yeah. Even if it was Trump.
Like, I can already hear what you're telling me, but I heard about this, but I don't know if it's confirmed. Like, I just feel like Biden has done so much more.
Think about the conflict a little bit later on.
The question is, how can it not be construed?
No, I mean, some of these foreign girls, Mr. Trump, in my country, we say hello with vagina.
And well, you could also say, as the owner of the pageant, it's your obligation to do that.
So you have done that.
I'll tell you the funniest is that I'll go backstage before a show.
Yes.
And everyone's getting dressed and ready and everything else. And, no men are anywhere. And I'm allowed to go in because I'm the owner of the pageant, and therefore I'm inspecting it. I'm inspecting. Right. I want to make sure that
like
everything is good.
You're there.
Yeah, the dress. Is everyone okay? They're standing there with no clothes. Is everybody okay? And you see these incredible-looking women. And so I sort of get away with things like that.
My prediction is that you'll walk back on the claim that you made 45 seconds ago, and you'll find some way to still justify supporting Trump, even though he just admitted to doing something that you said if he did do, you would stop supporting him. What are your thoughts?
How is that? What does that prove?
That proves that he walked into the changing rooms of teens and women where there's no men around while they were naked without any clothes on, getting dressed, and he would look at them and see how good they look, and he could get away with it since he owned the pageant.
So, like, what'd you say, Ali? I just feel like this isn't like how these are just words that he's saying, like.
Yeah, they were words
that this actually happened
because
like,
he said he did it.
Because he said he did it, like allegedly, like.
Okay, so he said that he did it. It's not. I want to clarify. It's not allegedly. He admitted to it. I mean, like, there's this one quote from Trump where he says he could walk up and shoot somebody on Fifth Avenue and his supporters would still support him. And I mean, I think that you're kind of proving that right now. He stared you in the face. He said, "My name is Donald Trump, and I have perved on naked teenagers in their dressing rooms, and I got away with it." And guess what? You're still letting him get away with it right now, okay? That last sentence he said in that clip is, "And I could get away with things like that." He sure as hell can if people like you exist. If people like you can listen to him say that he's done these things and listen to him say that he could get away with doing these things and then still let him get away with it by saying that it's not confirmed. Dude, oh my gosh, man. I can't believe it. Lariasa, thank you for the galaxy.
So you're telling me that all the other political machines, not Trump, because we already talked about Trump, obviously you think Trump is crazy. They're not. Joe Biden isn't.
Yeah, I mean, well, how about we talk about like the candidate that he ran against that could have been our president right now if you decided to vote for the better person. Kamala Harris has never done this. That's right. I mean, yeah, for sure. Could you please go ahead and tell me how this is something Kamala Harris has done? I'd love to hear you out. You know, I got open ears. Okay. You know, I would love for you to do a comparative analysis on Donald Trump and Kamala Harris and demonstrate to us how Kamala Harris is worse than the adjudicated rapist that admitted to perving on naked teenagers.
Wasn't Kamala Harris on the Diddy list?
No.
Can you pull that up for me?
So I don't have to prove your claim false. You'd actually have to prove your claim true.
Right.
But if she was on the Diddy list, she'd be in court right now. Right. So you're kind of talking out of your ass.
Kamala's team has spent more than $5 billion having images of her with Sean P. Diddy Combs bleached from the internet. It would be such a shame if this made the rounds.
Okay, well, I'm not willing to believe that they spent $5 billion to remove pictures on the internet. You could do that for a couple hundred. And if they did do that, I'd support it. You know, like, isn't that a good thing? If she was like loosely associated with him.
Is a good thing?
Would you allow me to finish speaking?
Sorry.
Like if she did know Diddy before Diddy became a bad person and didn't know that Diddy was a bad person or would become a bad person, and there was a handful of pictures of them two together, like it's probably like a good thing to try to remove all the pictures of you with them, so then it doesn't promote the message that Diddy is somehow a good person. But I mean, I've never seen a picture of the two together. But you know what? You know what Donald Trump has to say about Diddy?
What?
Have you never heard about how Donald Trump and Diddy used to be real good friends back in the day? You've never heard about that?
No, please tell me.
No, I mean, shit. Even like 2 days ago, he said that he'd consider pardoning him. You said you didn't hear that one?
No.
No. Let's see here. Well, I'm struggling to find the clip off of The Apprentice where Donald Trump is like, I like Diddy. He's a good friend of mine. Diddy's a good guy. Diddy's a good friend of mine. Because now all the clips that are showing up are of him like talking 2 days ago about pardoning him. So Donald Trump was a good friend of Diddy. Right. Can you tell us the worst thing that, oh, wait, here it is. Did I find it? Yep, I found it. Here it is.
And focused businesswoman because working for Diddy for 6 years trained me to have to be perfect.
Working for Diddy.
Absolutely.
I love Diddy.
That one's never been wider. I love Diddy.
You know, he's a good friend of mine. He's a good guy.
He expects.
Is he a good guy?
I don't want to answer that
Oh,
question.
well, I think he's a good guy. I'm going to stick up for
Strict.
Yeah. How do you feel about that? Shut up, Zach. How do you feel about that, Alexis? Oh my God! It's like even worse because he's like debating like a woman on it. The woman's like, I'm not gonna tell you that I think that I'm not gonna answer that. I'm not gonna tell you I think that he's a good. And then he's like, oh, I love Diddy. I love him. I think that he's great. I think he's a great guy. You know, I just love Diddy so much. Yeah. Maybe Donald Trump should have spent some money wiping that off of the internet because I mean, that's brutal.
Okay.
You say, Alexis, you sound defeated. Have I been too hard on you?
No, sometimes I just feel like Donald Trump isn't all that serious.
Oh, yeah, he was memeing. He was joking. False alarm, everybody. False alarm, guys. When Donald Trump says something that's just, like, absolutely indefensible, don't worry. He's just trolling the liberals. Wow. What a cope.
But I mean, like, there's a reason he won the election, right? Because he's a good president, right?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
leading us back into what
Biden
put us in, right?
Oh, wait, you thought that Biden was a good president too, right?
No, that's not what I said.
Oh, but isn't there also a reason he won the 2020 election?
Yeah, that's a whole conspiracy, though, and I don't want to get into that.
Oh, okay, so, yeah.
Biden kind of ruined everything.
Okay, well, Biden ruined everything, sure. What's one thing he ruined?
I don't think that's right, Ellie. The whole, what's the word I'm looking for? Dangerous? Dangerous.
Dangerous is a word. So what's one thing Biden ruined?
What?
What's one thing? So you told us that Biden ruined like everything. What's one thing that he ruined?
Inflation.
Oh, Biden caused inflation. Now, why would you think this? Because there was a lot of inflation under his presidency?
Yeah, I mean, it's just like as soon as
Yeah.
Biden gets into office, everything just starts going downhill in our country.
Oh, well,
And
that's
the
actually
prices and just every.
right. Well, we can't
Right.
say just because something happens in the country that the president caused it. We can't say that. I feel like that's unfair. Like, how unfair would it be for me to blame the highest level of unemployment in the last 100 years on Trump just because it happened under his term in April of 2020?
How many jobs did Trump say he created and opened for people?
Well, I mean, actually, if we want to do the whole baseless association, blame whatever happens in the country and the president thing, there was a total net loss in jobs under his first term. I guess that's Trump's fault too, if you think about it, according to your logic. See how I could do the same thing that you're doing? Just, oh, inflation happened in America, Biden was president, must have been his fault. Let's look at what happened in America while Trump was president. COVID happened, must have been his fault. Net loss in jobs happened, must have been his fault. Highest level of unemployment since the Great Depression, 14.8% April of 2020, must have been Trump's fault. See how that's super unfair logic to use? Now, the next question that you may ask is, well, Dean, if that's unfair logic, if that's bad reasoning, what is good reasoning? Well, if you want to blame something that happened in America on the president, you got to describe how, right? So maybe like when I blame the fact that we had negative GDP growth in the first quarter of this year on Trump, okay, I describe how by simply pointing out that his tariffs caused a massive surge in imports, meaning that companies were spending less money in the American markets, and his tariffs decreased consumer confidence, meaning that consumers were spending less money in American markets, so the GDP went down. Now, I'll ask you to do the same thing for Biden, and as it relates to inflation, like what did Biden do to cause that inflation?
Just speaking on Biden in general, since we're on the topic of Biden now, what happened with all that tax-paying money that we had that Biden, what was it? He didn't, it was just wasn't used properly and it was all wasted.
Oh, he wasted a bunch of taxpayers' dollars. Okay, how much did he spend under his 4 years? Non-COVID related debt signed into law. How much did he spend?
Do you know?
I do, $2.2 trillion. If you ask me what my source is, I'll tell you it's the Committee for a Responsible Federal Budget, the CRFB. $2.2 trillion. That is the total amount of every dollar spent related to the American debt by Biden in 4 years, not related to the pandemic. Now, are you ready for a zinger?
Yep.
How long has Trump been in office? Little over 100 days. And what is his one semi-accomplishment so far? Getting the big, beautiful bill passed through the House. If that big, beautiful bill passes through the Senate, you want to know how much new debt-related spending is going to be signed into law?
What?
$3.8 trillion. Wow. Trump is going to spend more money with one bill than every penny spent by Biden in the last 4 years. So if we want to talk about wasteful spending, I'm not so sure that Biden should be your number one enemy here.
Well, I mean, I feel like it's going to a better cause because I know a lot of the taxpayer money
It's
was
going
going
to
towards
a
like
better cause. Okay.
yeah, there was a few things that taxpayer dollars were going to, similar to like there was money going into why there's holes in cheese. There's a whole thing of taxpayer money going into that. That is a useful
Based?
study, in my opinion. You said what?
Based? I want to know why there's holes in cheese.
Do you want to pay for it with your tax money?
Yeah.
Sorry, I've been quiet the whole time. But
No, I think that we need to pay more. We need to figure out why there's holes in cheese.
I don't know if you're being sarcastic.
Well, how much did that cost?
I don't remember, but I do know.
Come on, like what, a couple
every-
million? Listen, a couple million?
every penny counts is the thing. I know another thing
Every penny does count. And if our government's spending a couple
Yeah, we-
$1 million on trying to determine why there's holes in cheese, okay, like what the fuck, get rid of it. Okay, like
Okay.
yeah, I can agree
Here's-
that's weird. Now listen, though.
Yeah, okay, so we
no,
agree
no,
on
no,
that.
no. I need you to listen to me without interrupting me. So yeah,
I got you.
we could agree that if there's a couple million spent on trying to determine why there's holes in cheese, like what the fuck, get rid of it. But I think you also need to keep in mind that Donald Trump spent $144 million on golfing at Mar-a-Lago in his first 4 years. More
Okay,
than
and I'm not
no,
defending
I'm
that.
not done yet. Please don't interrupt me.
sorry.
Spending more than trying to determine why there's holes in cheese. And then guess what? 3.8 trillion is significantly more than a handful of million. And I would say that we would almost be better to spend this $3.8 trillion on trying to figure out why there's holes in cheese than on the big beautiful bill, because at least spending it on figuring out why there's holes in cheese won't cut $1.2 trillion for Medicaid, Medicare, and Social Security over the next 10 years. Okay, if we spent the $3.8 trillion on figuring out why there's holes in cheese, well, that wouldn't reduce the after-tax income for 80% of income earners in America, like the big beautiful bill will, according to the Center on Budget and Policy Priorities. Right. So honestly, I'd actually argue that every dollar spent on trying to figure out why there's holes in cheese is better spent than every dollar that will be spent on the big beautiful bill.
So with that logic, our taxpayer money should be going to completely stupid researches, because it's better than spending more money on a bill that is arguably more important than holes on cheese. So you'd want to send
Wait,
a lot of money.
how could
to
you say
stupid
how could you
researches.
say that decreasing your after-tax income and spending $3.8 trillion to do it is a better cause than further researching holes in cheese?
Well, because it's going to every American. You see, I'm
It's
helping better
taking
this
it
country.
away
Let
from
me
every
finish.
American.
I'll let you finish. Let me finish. It's helping better the country because different races and genders, but we're all American. You
Dude,
see,
I don't know if you
with
just
the
didn't listen
money
to what I
that
said.
is-
Does it make the country better or does it make the country worse when we take money away from 80% of Americans?
I see where you're coming from.
Because keep in mind, my claim is that the big beautiful bill reduces the after-tax income for 80% of Americans and just does it disproportionately. So the less money you make, the lower your after-tax income will be. My source is the Center on Policy and Budget Priorities, right? 80%
Yes.
of Americans will have a lower after-tax income because of the big beautiful bill, according to the Center on Budget and Policy Priorities.
Yes,
So it's a bad thing, right?
kinda. I still don't.
Kinda?
I also don't like.
What the hell? This is like the worst economic policy ever proposed to Congress. They want to spend almost $4 trillion to make you make
Okay.
less. How is that a good idea?
Okay,
How is
well,
that kind of
another-
a... Wait. Okay, so you said that's kind of a bad idea. So this means that you think there's some upsides to it. Give me one upside of spending $4 trillion to make you make less.
Well, so I can't think of one. So you did beat me on that point.
So
I will
it's
give that
it's
to you.
just terrible. It's bad. It's
not
fucking
terrible.
Why wouldn't you say that's terrible? Name an economic policy that's worse. Seriously, that's ever passed in this country. Name a worse economic policy that's ever passed than spending $4 trillion to make you make less.
This wasn't an economic policy, but
The
this
big beautiful
was
bill is
within-
definitely an economic
I'm not talking
policy.
about that right now. I'm talking about.
Well, I
under the
am.
Biden
You're telling me
under-
that it's not terrible.
I'm
Name a
giving
worse
you a
economic
parallel right
policy.
now. I'm giving you a parallel.
Sure.
Under the Biden administration, there was 4 million Social Security card numbers given out to illegal immigrants. That is horrible for economics. When you have illegal
By
immigrants
who?
coming in here and getting not 401ks, Social Security.
Who is giving them the
Numbers.
social security numbers?
I cannot remember. It was a Doge report. You can fact check me on that. It was a report.
So was our government giving them social security numbers?
Yes, it was the Biden administration.
Okay.
The 4 years that Biden was
For-
in
for
office,
sure.
there was.
For sure. What's
the-
your evidence?
Look it up right now.
Well,
You can fact
well,
check me.
we do hold to MLA citation standards on this live. I don't expect anything more out of you that your 11th grade English teacher would have. I just simply ask you for the publisher, a title of an article. You give me the source. I could fact check you as soon as you give it to me. That works. Okay, well, it looks like he's maybe on pause finding that source. So it's back to you, Alexis.
Hey.
Hi. So do you have any more reasons to like Trump?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Okay. Just another thing. I just really appreciate his military assistance when it comes to just like soldiers or like people who are trapped in other countries, whereas Biden did not. Like, what was it? What was it? The embargo? Yeah.
What?
That-
What are you saying? I don't know what you're saying. Does anybody know what she's saying? Because I don't. Do you know what she's saying, Zach? Because I don't know what she's saying. Do you, Zach?
I would not like to comment.
It doesn't seem like Zach knows what you're saying either. Would you like to try to repeat that?
Joe Biden withheld sending weapons to Israel, I think
He did.
Oh wait, I know. I think I know what she's trying to say.
So he did place. He did at the end of his presidency. They did place a weapons embargo in Israel. And you know what my thoughts on that are?
what?
It was too damn late. Should have been done a whole lot sooner. I have a question. How many arrest warrants does the ICJ, the International Crimes and Justice Court, have out for the arrests of the leader of Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu?
What?
Two. They have two out. He's a war criminal. He's killed like 54,000 innocent Palestinian men, women, and babies and children. And I mean, that doesn't include like the hundreds of thousands of Palestinians that have been ethnically cleansed. They're forced to relocate because their homes have been turned into rubble. I mean, why would we want to give them more weapons?
Right.
Right, you know, common sense type shit. Oh my god! Holy shit! Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my, dude! Oh my shit, dude! I'm so sorry. I gotta thank somebody real quick. Christian with the $1,000 donation over on PayPal. Holy fuck! What the fuck? Yo, bro, dude, if you put an extra zero there, man, I'm not gonna play. If you put like 2 extra zeros there, just let me know. I can send that back. That is good googly moogly. That is way too much damn money. Oh my god. If you're watching this stream right now, can you please show some love to Mr. Christian in the live comment sections of the stream? I do not deserve that. I sure as hell do not deserve that, Christian. That is, I mean, I do these lives for 4 hours a day. I like that. That has to be one of the first. Oh my dude, Christian. Okay, well, let's read off his message. Christian says, after you ended your stream yesterday, I found a bunch of videos of you supporting gay rights with both scientific and empathetic language. As the world is getting much scarier, it felt incredibly soothing and amazing to hear a straight guy supporting gay rights in that way. This represents the appreciation for these videos. Thank you. Christian, we love you here. That is by far one of the craziest donations I've ever received. I want everybody to show some love to Christian in the live chats while we hop into these debates. I mean, like, I'm about to refocus Alexis and Zach here, but just continue to fucking spam W Christians down below in those chats. Thank you so much, man. But anyways, Zach and Alexis, take it away. Thank you, Christian.
So I do have one question, because this is the kind of thing I wanted to talk to you about, because I have my stance on it, and I'm kind of curious on like your complete stance on it, because I don't know if I'm in the right on it, you know, and it's the immigration policy with the illegal immigrants, because I am for legal immigration. I think that betters every country. But I'm just curious on, do you support illegal immigrants coming into America?
No,
And-
so I actually don't support undocumented immigration into America. And it's because I don't support undocumented immigration into America that I think we need to completely rebolster immigration systems and reform them and almost
yeah.
flip them on their head. And what I mean by that is I think that we should have as many legal ports of entry into America as possible that allow as many individuals to legally migrate into America as possible, only screening out individuals for prior violent offenses. So if we do that, then we we will naturally remove all incentive for undocumented entry into this country. The ultimate cause of undocumented immigration is going to be an unattainability of legal means of entry, meaning that they take too long, they're too expensive, and they're too slow. So if we completely remove that incentive by making legal entry incredibly easy and incredibly efficient and incredibly attainable, then we will see no undocumented entry into America.
So would you say it's so you are for background checking immigrants coming into the country, correct?
Yeah, for sure. And I actually want to
Okay.
ask you a question
So-
about that. So, if we did a background check of a legal immigrant coming in, and we figured out that they had been they'd been held civilly liable for raping a woman, do you think that they should be allowed to come into our? Do you think that they should be legally allowed to come into America?
No, I think
No.
it should.
They should be
I think
turned
we should have
around.
a zero tolerance on that.
Okay.
Personally.
Do you think it should be harder to become a citizen or to become a president?
So, that's a good question. My thing, I think it is technically harder to become a president because of
Do you agree
how
with that? Like, do you think that like every citizen is qualified to be the president, or there's like additional
every
qualifications? on top of that?
American-born citizen is. I think every
What?
American-born
Wait,
citizen
wait.
without.
So you're on TikTok. Do you know who Josh Block is?
I do not. I'm not on
Okay.
TikTok.
Do you know who Daniel Larson is?
I think I've heard the name a few times.
No. Okay. What about like? Okay. Do you think that you're qualified to run the country right now?
Not right now. No, I have to go through. I think that the reason we have the age.
Do you think that every 35-year-old American is qualified to be president?
No, that's why we have the election. I mean,
Right. Like
whenever you do
so obviously, like you think it should be harder to become president than it is to become a citizen, right?
it already is harder.
But you
I
agree with
think.
that? I'm not asking you what is the case. I'm asking if you agree with it.
Oh yeah, I can agree with that.
Okay, so if it should be harder
with
to
the
become,
knowledge I have of it, yes.
if it should be harder to become the president than to become a citizen, and you think that you shouldn't be able to become a citizen if you're held civilly liable for raping a woman, this would also imply that you don't think you should be able to become president if you're civilly liable for raping a woman, right?
Are you talking about Trump's do I have to say grape because of guidelines?
Donald Trump wasn't. No, Donald Trump's a good man. We're not talking about him. I'm just saying, like, theoretically, hypothetically, you said that if you're held civilly liable for raping a woman, you shouldn't be able to become a citizen. So it would like be logically implied there that if you're held civilly liable for raping a woman, you shouldn't be able to become a president either, right?
Yes, I can agree with that.
Okay, well, I
Stop,
lied. So
Zach.
Donald Trump has been held civilly liable for.
It was actually a fake
raping
report.
woman.
The woman that claimed that he raped her, or raped myself, I'm sorry. Actually, she could not date the year, the day, the month. All she could remember, that was it. It was in a closet I think it was a penny store. It could have been somewhere else, but she could not even date the year it happened. Okay, but she claims he raped him.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, everything that you just said was wrong. So first you said that she couldn't date the year it happened. That's not true. 1996. Then you said that it happened in a closet. That's not true. It happened in a changing room. And then you said it was at a penny store. No, it was at a designer retail store. So
Yeah, it was-
nearly
I knew it was at a
everything
retail store.
that you just said was wrong.
Or actually, no, it was on later.
Can
it
we-
was
can we
later
agree
interviews that she was able to claim that. After it, when she first claimed it happened, she couldn't give the details. I think it was a documentary on Netflix that came out.
also
It was
wrong.
whenever she started to actually give out the details.
That's also wrong. She wrote
No.
about it in a book in 2019, not a Netflix
2019.
documentary.
You just proved my point. In later interviews and encounters, or not encounters, documentation of her trying to document it. It was
So
not
she
until
started
2019.
talking about it. Yeah, she didn't. Come
And she
out
also
about
didn't talk about it until he
23
started running
years
for
old.
president. Make that make sense.
He
If
ran
someone
for
were to
president in
rape you-
2015.
Exactly.
She
It was
came out
after
about
his
it in
presidency.
2019.
It was whenever he switched from, because he was a Democrat when he was just a celebrity. He was, because I can't remember which president he was very good friends with, if it wasn't president, but he was on the Democratic side. It was not until he switched to the Republican side that, oh my gosh, we have
switched to the
all of these
Republican
rape
side.
cases coming
So do you know
out.
when he left the Democratic Party?
I do not know the exact date.
2001. He ran as an independent candidate for president in 2001. So you're saying that it wasn't until he left the Democratic Party that people started shitting on. Dude, he left the Democratic Party in 2001. All right.
When did he join the Republican Party?
I don't know when he joined the Republican Party, but it's not
Well,
relevant
exactly,
because he left the
because it was
Democrat
not
Party in
until he switched
2001.
sides. Democrat, it's not. It's until he switched sides.
So
to,
I just want to clarify. So you're saying that basically she was a liar and she lied about this because you became a Republican?
Yes, and if
Okay,
it
well,
did happen, why is she not pressed charges?
so let me ask you.
If
So
it actually happened, where's the charges that she is pressed?
she
I
actually
agree
held
with
him
that.
liable for raping her in a court of law.
Then why is he not in jail? If it actually happened, why is it not in jail?
Okay, so you obviously know nothing about our criminal justice system. I'll educate you because I'm a nice guy. So when you're held liable for something, that means that charges, quote unquote, were pursued in a civil court of law. Civil courts do not determine criminal responsibility, i.e., they don't send people to jail. They determine financial responsibility, i.e., he owes her $70 million. So when you ask the question, why is he not in jail if she took him to court? Well, she took him to civil court because there's a statute of limitations in which had passed, meaning that in the state of New York, she was ineligible to bring him to criminal court. Now, I want to point out here that you said that it couldn't be true because she waited so many years, right? Okay. Well, 60% of rape victims never report the instance to the authority in their lifetime. So why are you victim blaming a woman that waited 23 years?
So, number one, I do have one thing to add. I do think a lot of the rape accusations that go on, I think that I'm not saying all of them are false because I think that it is a
Can we
huge
clear
problem
up
in
your
America.
language? It's not
Let me
it's not an accusation, it's a proven claim.
Oh my goodness. Well, I do think that. Oh, we lost Alexis. I do think it is a huge problem in America involving the rape things. I think it's a horrible, horrible problem. But involving her only wanting money out of him, I would have a theory. This is not.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
my
So
thing
the
is,
theory is because she took him to civil court and she got money. That means that she was lying and only in it for the money.
yes. So
So
why would
at
she?
the
Why would
same,
she want the person that raped her to be able to run the country?
could you please
Okay.
allow me to finish speaking here?
You didn't allow me to, but I will let you.
Well, I mean, you don't really seem to care too much about consent. So, I mean, I guess I don't have too much of a qualm
Hold
with
on, hold on.
interrupting
Excuse
you.
me.
You don't seem to
Excuse
care
me?
too much about consent.
No, I do. I do think that rape is a horrible thing, and I actually have a friend that was raped, and the amount of mental trauma that comes with that is horrible. It is an awful thing to happen.
Well,
I can agree with you.
Well,
Rape
then you
is
shouldn't be baselessly victim blaming a woman that got raped, was able to prove her rapist guilty with a unanimous 9-0 decision in court, and then deny it with no reason. Like, I'll show you that you're a victim blamer with no real reason to deny the claim that Donald Trump raped Eugene Carroll. So, could we agree, like, regardless of like what her motivations were in falsely accusing Donald Trump, if she was falsely accusing Donald Trump, all that this would mean is that that unanimous 9-0 jury that ruled he was guilty guilty without enough evidence, right?
Yeah, I can see where you're coming from. Yeah.
Right. So, in other words, the only way you could really know that he was innocent and she was falsely accusing him is if you examine the evidence that she submitted to the court and determined if it was sufficient or insufficient. So, I'm guessing since you're coming out of the gate swinging with such harsh, compelling, and confident claims of his innocence, you've obviously read the evidence in the court documents that the jury used to determine his guilt. So, can you name one piece of evidence that she submitted to the jury that they then used to hold Trump liable?
No, could you? Because I'm at the moment reconsidering what I said earlier.
Right, exactly. You can't name a piece of evidence, right? And that's
No,
the
I'm
issue.
asking. Could you tell me?
For sure, we
I'm
can
not-
we can
Yeah,
go
okay.
over the evidence together. And in fact, even after I go over the evidence with you, I just direct you to the court documents because those 93 pages will be able to describe it better than I ever could, right? But I just want it to be very clear that unless you are rejecting and critiquing the evidence that was set forth in that civil court that the jury used to hold him liable, you're just victim blaming her. You know, like when you say things like, "Oh, well, I just know that she was falsely accusing him without looking at the evidence because she waited 23 years." That's victim blaming her. Okay, it's very
define victim
plausible
blaming?
that she could have waited 20. But you're basically saying that it's her fault and that she's a liar, that she's a bad person, not the rapist.
Oh no! I don't. I don't think it's her fault for the whole thing happening. I will say though, listening to a bunch of things that a bunch of people have said about it, I could name one. You're not gonna like him, but Charlie Kirk. I know that you and him have like a. I want to see the debate personally, but I did hear him talk a lot about it, and he did give some sources that I have to look back at too. I didn't know I was debating you. I woke up. Not long ago.
Charlie Kirk gives arguments just like you do. I think like the most recent argument I heard from Charlie Kirk is that why would he rape her if he is a billionaire with a supermodel wife and she's ugly? That's seriously an argument he's run. Are you sure that he's a good source of reason here? I'm not.
I mean, not
I'm
everyone- not
not
everyone's
super
right.
convinced that like Charlie Kirk is this intellectual titan that is a force that should be reckoned with and believed unilaterally without any type of pushback, rejection, or second thought.
No, I don't want to talk to him. I was just bringing him up from where I got all this stuff, but I want to know if I'm wrong on this rape case. I want you to tell me
for
the
sure.
facts.
Right.
I'm not
so,
here to.
I mean, the facts of the matter is that there was therapist notes from the 90s where she indicated that she was raped by Trump. The therapist notes aligned with her own testimony as well as the testimony of 7 others. Not to mention, she even had the dress that she claimed she was raped in by Donald Trump, and she claimed that Donald Trump's DNA was on it. So then the court took the dress. The court tested it for DNA. They found male DNA just like they said they would. And then they turned around and they were like, Donald Trump, okay,
Yes.
look at this dress. It has male DNA on it. She said it was yours. Would you be able to give us your DNA so we could test it against the DNA on the dress? And Donald Trump said no. Donald Trump said he wouldn't submit his DNA to the court. Donald Trump contested. He said, I have the legal right to reject giving you my DNA, so I'm not going to do it. That sounds like something a guilty man would do. Like, imagine that you are sober and you're pulled over by a cop when you're driving and they suspect you of a DUI and they say, all you got to do is blow in this breathalyzer. Would you do it?
I mean, if I'm sober, yeah, I'd do it.
Obviously, you prove your innocence, you continue on with your day. But now, if you actually are drunk driving and you get pulled over by a cop suspected of a DUI, are you going to be blown into that breathalyzer?
If I'm not sober, probably not.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So if Donald Trump is
Yeah.
innocent, he didn't rape E. Jean Carroll. It's not his DNA on the dress. The judge is like, give me your DNA. E. Jean Carroll says your DNA is on this dress from the day that you raped her. If you're innocent, okay, you're probably going to submit your DNA. If you're guilty, you're probably not going to submit your DNA. And so on top of all the evidence that I went over, I mean, this is a very compelling, this is a very compelling thing that Donald Trump did, in which I believe demonstrates his guilt.
Okay, yeah. You changed my mind on that. Like before I get off of this, I just want to say this. Like, I think a big problem with debates nowadays is that people don't debate to understand the truth. They debate to just beat the other person. You know what I mean? And
Yeah, for sure. I do know what you
like
mean.
I see it a lot. I've seen a few of your live streams. And I was only on here to talk about immigration because I didn't know your stance on it. But I don't know how I got on this rape case.
Yeah.
But
Well, Zach,
I'll definitely do a lot more research.
I
and
appreciate
look
you
into it.
for being significantly more open-minded than the average person I have up here.
Okay, well, I'm not. I would rather. I want to know the truth. Not live a lie and be over here voting for someone who.
Yeah,
doing crap like that.
And I think that that's very respectable of you. I think that the seeds have been planted. Go do your own research, man. Good for you, and that's awesome. Thank you so much for coming up here with an open-minded attitude. I seriously do really appreciate that, Zach.
Real quick though, this is one thing. I don't know if I'm allowed to talk about this on here, but could I understand your viewpoint on Christianity?
Well, sure. I'll give you a quick synopsis, and then I'm going to move on. But I'll
Okay.
give you a quick synopsis because you just demonstrated an open-minded attitude. But I guess I'll just sum it up in a couple sentences. So my thoughts on Christianity are as follows. So first and foremost, I think that it's inherently faith-based belief. I don't think there's any evidence or reason to justify that Christianity is true. In fact, in the last couple of years of research, I think that there's more reason and more evidence to disprove and refute Christianity because I think that it's logically intelligible. But that aside, I don't care when people are Christian. In fact, I think for a lot of people, being Christian can be a really good thing, right?
Yes.
It could be a community builder. It could give your life a sense of purpose, a sense of reason. It could bring you closer to good virtues. It can make you a good person. There's a lot of good in Christianity, a fuck ton of good, right? And to be honest, a lot of people just simply need faith, right? But
Yeah.
I think if we could agree that it's an inherently faith-based belief that isn't rooted within any empirical reason or lines of evidence, that it's something that should be kept to yourself and only yourself. And I don't think that using this inherently faith-based belief to infringe or superimpose your values onto the lives of others, especially when you're restricting them from doing particular things, such as accessing healthcare, that's when it goes from being something that can be good, a community builder that brings you closer to good virtues and gives your life a reason, a sense of purpose, into a like weapon of hate and terror, right? So I think those are my thoughts. But yeah, I appreciate you for coming up, Zach, and I hope you have a good rest of your day, man. Once again, I appreciate you for your open-mindedness. That, you know, those are definitely good virtues. I think that you're on a good path. But let's go to move on to the next guest. Everybody, if you're in that queue, make sure that does indeed mean that you do indeed support Trump. We're going to go to get that next guest up on the live right now. While we're loading that next guest in, Noah, thank you for the $100 over on that YouTube super chat. Let's get 1,000 Noah W's down below in that chat. Noah says, sorry to correct you, but Trump was a Republican until the 99, then from 2009 to 2011. Okay, so I actually didn't know that he joined the Republican Party in 1987. Thank you for correcting me, Noah. Good correction. Then also Warrior, thank you for the $10 over in Super Chat, saying, stroke and brain aneurysm Warrior here. Thanks for fighting for those that can't use their voices. Oh, I appreciate you for the love, and I'm so happy to hear that you're doing all right. Or at least I hope that you are doing all right. Thank you for the $10. Jason, what's going on? Do you support Trump? All right, Jason isn't here. Notice me. What's up? Are you MAGA? All right.
Yes, I'm
Oh.
MAGA.
Okay, how old are you?
I'm 19 years old.
Okay, you come up here like every other day, right?
Can I speak to you once a week and we can make a deal?
dude, join.
Like actually, just once a week. Maybe like every
listen,
Monday. I
listen.
can come up for like 5 to 10 minutes.
Listen. I'm not gonna lie.
We have good discussions. We have good discussions.
I'll be honest. I do have better discussions with you than I do have on the with the average person that comes
5
on
minutes.
this live.
5 minutes. That's all I want. 5 minutes.
No, because we've talked a billion times. But I will
No,
tell
it
you.
will be a new topic.
Listen,
New
I'm gonna
topic,
make a
new topic.
recommendation to you. There's like a billion smaller debate lives that are like always going on TikTok, regardless.
Yeah,
if
but
it's
you're
about...
fun. Wait. Let me just say one thing. One thing to you, then you can kick me.
No, I'm kicking you now. I'm kicking you now. I'm sorry, man. But I will say, we have had good conversations. I will say that. We have had good convos. What's going on? Do you support Trump?
Yeah, I do.
How old are you?
I'm 26.
Okay, and why the hell do you support the worst president of your life?
Well, I think he's a great president. So I was born in Mexico. I immigrated here illegally, and that's why I support him.
Okay, you immigrated here illegally and you support him?
Yeah, legally. So the reason
Oh,
I don't support illegal
I thought you said illegally. Please tell me I'm not the only one that heard that.
How would I vote for him if I was illegal?
You wouldn't have been able to vote. Okay, so yeah, it's good that you recognize that undocumented immigrants can't vote. A lot of Republicans say otherwise. But anyway, so you immigrated here legally and you support them. Why?
They legally can't vote. Yeah. So, I mean, I've been up here since the beginning of your live, and I just heard a lot of misinformation coming from you. And like at the beginning, you said Trump doesn't support aid for Gaza.
Yep.
So in April 25th, 2025, he says we have to be good to Gaza. Those people are suffering. There's a very big need for food and medicine, and we're taking care of it.
Okay, and this is coming like what, a month or two after
May
he
4th,
expressed
2025. We're gonna
reservations
help
about
the people of
providing aid to
Gaza get some
Gaza,
food.
and he even particularly recommended to Benjamin Netanyahu to cut off aid, and which then led to Netanyahu cutting off aid. And honestly, if he has said that he cares about the people in Gaza, he was a big fat liar. Because if he cared about the people
He
in
has
Gaza,
multiple times, and so May 4th,
Let-
he says
answer-
we're going
answer
to
this-
help
answer
the
this
people
question.
of Gaza get some food.
Is
People are
he-
starving. We're going to help
Is
them
he
get
help?
some food.
Maybe I might know what he's saying. Maybe he's going to help them get food by ethnically cleansing them all to Jordan and Egypt, because he said he was going to do that too.
No, it's called they're getting asylum in Egypt. I thought you guys support asylum seekers.
Ooh, I have a question.
Wait. So you guys don't support asylum seekers? And this isn't my main point. This is just a quick point.
I
to
support
say that you
asylum.
just spread misinformation.
I
and
support
13,000
asylum,
viewers
but I
believe you.
but I don't support ethnic cleansing.
He does support aid to Gaza. He might even recognize them as a state. So what would you say if he did that?
Well, what I do.
Would you support Trump in that?
So I would like you to allow me to speak. He explicitly expressed reservations about sending any and all aid to Gaza, and he said so publicly. And then he even recommended to Netanyahu to cut off all aid. And I mean, if like it's a month or two later now, and he's saying that he cares about the people of Gaza, I mean, he's a big fat fucking liar because of his intentional and express plan that he talked about at a press conference with Netanyahu to expel and ethnically cleanse the 1.2 remaining Palestinians living on the Gaza Strip. I mean, if anything, I know that you're trying to come up here, get a donk, say that I'm the liar, because in the last month he's expressed good, virtued intentions towards Palestinians. Okay, well, please tell me how. In one breath, he could say he wants to ethnically cleanse 1.2 million Palestinians living there. Then in the next breath, he could say he cares
Asylum,
about
not ethnical cleansing.
Define ethnic
He
cleansing.
pressured Israel to reopen aid crossings.
Define ethnic cleansing. Yeah, look it up.
I'm telling you, it's
No, I hear you type it on your
asylum.
keyboard.
You're making the claim,
I
right?
hear you typing on your
Wait,
keyboard.
you're
You're
making
doing
the
the right
claim
thing.
though. I'm not the one making the claim that it's ethnic cleansing. You're making the claim that it's ethnic cleansing. I'm telling you, it's asylum.
Right.
They're
and
going to
so-
Egypt for asylum. You're saying it's ethnic cleansing.
It is ethnic cleansing. You were just typing on your keyboard.
It's
You were
not.
Listen, sir.
So who's getting unalive?
Sir, would you mind if you allow me to finish? So you were just typing on your keyboard. That's what I want
Right
you
here,
to
the
do.
definition
Oh
literally
my
says
God.
the mass
Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and
explosion
mute
or
you because you're
unalivement of-
interrupting me. So you're just typing on your keyboard. That's what I want you to do.
Of course you are.
I want you to type on your keyboard ethnic cleansing definition and read it out.
That's what I was trying to do, but you muted me. I says
Because you
the
were
mass
interrupting me.
expulsion or unaliving of members of an unwanted ethnic. You just interrupted me. So the mass expulsion or killing of members of an unwanted ethnic or religious group in a society. They're not being unalived, and it's not a specific ethnic or religious group. It's called asylum seeking. They're seeking asylum in Egypt, which is what they need. So again, I thought you guys supported them getting aid, but you don't want them to get aid in Egypt. Second of all, he pressured Israel to
Before
reopen
we
aid
move on,
crossings on
the
May 19,
definition that you
2025.
just gave
He
fits
pub-
ethnic
Hold on,
cleansing.
this is a quick point. I don't even want to talk about Israel or Palestine. This is just to point out that you're spreading misinformation. He publicly committed himself to give food aid on May 4th, 2025. He reiterated support for food and medicine on May 5th. He had diplomatic discussions for aid on April 25th, 2025. He acknowledged starvation crisis on May 16, 2025. These are all things that he's doing to recognize that they need aid, and he is promising to give them aid. So again, what would you say if Trump recognized them as a state?
Okay, so thank you so much. You made 3 points. The first point you made was to define ethnic cleansing, and you maybe gave me 2 sentences how you don't believe that Donald Trump's plan fits that definition. The second point you made was to give me a timeline of a series of events where Donald Trump has expressed on multiple occasions that he wants to give aid to Palestinians. And then the third point that you said was, what would I say if he wants to recognize him as a state? So we'll go top to bottom. So with the last point, what would I say if he wants to recognize him as a state? I'd be wary. Okay, the reason why I would be wary about that is because he's expressed that he believes that the Gaza Strip belongs to Israel. So if he did recognize him as a state, well, he'd probably only recognize parts of the Palestinian state as a part of the Palestinian state, which would just be giving other parts of the Palestinian state to Israel in the eyes of the US. So that could actually be a bad thing based upon the land and or region that he recognizes. And then once again, to your second point, you saying that he's expressed on multiple occasions that he's promised to give them aid. Well, he's also promised to ethnically cleanse them. So like, I mean, like what direction do we lean? Is he maybe saying that they'll have aid after they're ethnically cleansed in Jordan and Egypt? Okay, and then now this honestly bleeds into the first point that you made, saying that ethnic cleansing can be defined as the forceful expulsion or killing of a group of an unwanted ethnicity or religious or religion. Okay, so this is exactly what his plan is. So he wants to forcefully remove all 1.2 million Palestinians living on the Gaza Strip. The way he wants to forcefully remove all 1.2 million Palestinians living on the Gaza Strip is to literally kick them out of their houses, demolish every building that remains, flatten the land, and then expel them to Jordan and Egypt. And then once they're expelled from the region, he told Hannity on Fox News that he wants to give them no right to return ever again. And then he wants to build a Riviera and give it to the state of Israel. So his plan perfectly fulfills all necessary criteria of the definition of ethnic cleansing. Forceful expulsion of an unwanted ethnic group. All right, that is what he wants to do. That is what he said he's going to do. That is what he agreed to do at a press conference with Netanyahu. And my last point here is that you try to come up here acting as if I'm the one spreading misinformation. You're the one spreading misinformation, sir. And I just listed out many reasons why.
Yeah, with no source.
Sorry, I invited you to.
I gave you
unmute, but
exact
muted right
dates and
before.
sources. Yeah, I gave you. Can you hear me? Because you were lagging a little bit. Can you still hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Do you want to respond to any of the things that I just said?
Okay. Yeah, again, so those were all things that you said without any sources, and I gave you exact dates and sources as to how he's supporting aid for Palestine, which is what your initial claim was. That was misinformation. So none of what I said was misinformation. Those are exact dates and quotes from him. And then you also made the claim that he tried to creep on young teens in change rooms and pageants. Those were claims made from 2016 from BuzzFeed, and the clip that you played was him actually defending himself, saying they were grown women, and that he's able to go back there because he is the owner. And there's even been other Miss USA, whatever, Miss Universe pageants, women contestants that have actually defended Trump, saying that those allegations are not true.
Okay. Well, I mean, you just contradicted yourself because you said that him speaking on the clip that I play is him defending himself from allegations that BuzzFeed made in 2016. Okay, well, that's a clip from 2005. How could he be defending himself against allegations made in 2016 in 2005?
I'm saying because there's allegations from probably back then. That's why he was talking about it. He was saying that he can go back there because he is the owner of the pageant. That's what he's explaining. And you made the claim that it was teens, and nowhere in that clip that underage contestants, none of them were mentioned.
Oh, okay.
And other
So-
contestants have actually defended Trump, saying those aren't true, like those claims aren't true, that he's a creep or anything like that.
Yeah,
You
so
also, the girl
I'd like to
tried
make it
making the
clear-
claim. Hold on,
Oh, you have more to
go
say?
ahead.
Okay, all right, I'll go ahead. Yeah.
No, go ahead.
So you're saying that it was naked adult women that he perved on without consent while they were changing in a space with no rhythm.
He never said he perved on them. He said he was just able to go back there because he's the owner.
Would you consider going into a women's changing room where there's no men around and looking at the naked women as pervy?
I mean, you could. It depends, right? Like if it's
It
you're saying so, it's
depends.
because it's a man. It might be pervy.
It-
Hold on.
it
So you arguing
depends.
because it's a male? Okay. So would you be against like trans people going into women's bathrooms because it might be perving on women?
So I think that trans women are women, and I'm all right with trans women going into the women's restroom, and we could have a conversation about that. But I'm not going to allow you to scapegoat trans people as a way to evade my argument that is very commonsensical.
No, I'm
that
just
being
trying to
that
see
it
where
is
you stand on
pervy
this.
for Donald Trump to walk backstage into a woman's changing room and look at them while they're naked. I mean, that was a great attempt to pivot, but don't pivot, right? And then also you said that it was women.
You
It was
claim
not,
that it's
No,
pervy because
I'm
he's
gonna
a
I'm
man.
gonna allow
You made-
you're gonna allow me to finish to speak, and then also I'd like to clarify here that you said it was adult women, it wasn't teenage girls. Okay, well I don't think that it's demonstrably worse if it was women that he unconsensually perved on while they were naked compared to teenage girls. But if you're curious, yes, this is something he did at Miss USA, which would be women, and Miss Teen USA. Yeah, yeah. So if you're curious, we actually know one of these women who was a teen that he perved on. Her name is Victoria. Victoria comes up onto this live
The
every once in a
BuzzFeed-
while, and Victoria will
BuzzFeed
personally
accuser.
tell you about how.
BuzzFeed.
So if you interrupt me again, I'm just gonna I don't know, kick you. I don't
Sure,
know.
you want to drop me for any reason. I'm sure you're looking for any reason to drop me, but I'll let you finish.
Wait.
Go ahead.
If I was looking for any reason to drop you, why would I warn you?
I'm gonna let you finish.
No, answer that question real quick. If I was just genuinely looking for any reason to drop you, why would I give you a heads up?
Well, it sounds like you're telling me that you want to drop me. You're like,
I'm just
letting
trying to
people know. I'm
like.
probably gonna drop him. The reason I dropped this guy is because he's interrupting me, guys. Just so all the 13,000 people in here know, it's not because I can't debate him. It's because he's interrupting me. But go ahead, please.
So no, I just gave you a warning. I was like, if you continue to interrupt me every time I speak, I'll probably move on to the next guest. If I was just looking for a reason to drop you, what I would do is I would drop you and then tell my chat that I dropped you because you were interrupting me. No, but I'm giving you a heads up. I'm giving you a warning. I'm setting the boundary, making it clear. You continue to
Okay,
incessantly
thank you.
interrupt. I'll kick you, move on. It's as simple as that. But anyways, back to what I said. He did this to both teenagers and adult women. But if you want to say that he was talking about adult women that he did this to in that clip, can we agree that it was like very bad for like a man to perv on naked women while they're changing in their space where there's no men around? And then to defend it, saying that he could get away with it because of a power imbalance, that power imbalance being that he owned it? Why would I want to kick you when I have you in like a generational logical headlock here?
Again, you're claiming that he's perving on him because he's a man, right? Just inherently. That's why he's perving, because he's a man. He said he's back there because he has to make sure everyone's good.
Oh,
You're saying
okay.
because he's a man, he's
Wait, did you
pervy.
believe that? Wait. In the clip.
why- that's why-
Even in the clip, it's set up as a joke.
You're gonna interrupt me.
Even in the clip, it's set up as a joke. So he says, like, in like a joking demeanor, like, oh, I just have to go inspect them, you know, like trying to apply any legitimate reason to him just going back there to look at the quote unquote beautiful naked women. And I mean, it's like this is a social cue that even like Howard Stern and everybody else on that radio show caught on. Like Howard Stern, when he said that, then laughed, and then the woman was like, right, yeah, you have to inspect them, right. And I mean, then even at the end of the clip, he says, I could sort of get away with things like that, which just like explicitly and verbally affirms that he's just going back there to look at naked women while they change. Okay, so I just want to clarify that when he says it will use it's inspecting them. Okay, why would a business owner need to inspect naked women changing?
Again, I said he can go back there because he's the owner. Can
So,
you know?
so you're basically saying that he has a legal ability to do it, therefore it's okay?
I didn't say anything about legality. No laws
Okay,
involved.
like if owners can just go into a women's private spaces like changing rooms or bathrooms. So I mean, if you were at a Walmart and the CEO of
No,
Walmart
you're
was
saying
there, and
men
they
are
walked into
inherently
the women's restrooms, like I just want to clarify, you'd be fine with that? It'd be okay since they were the owner?
What?
Yeah,
No,
said
I'm
that
saying
he
the
can
owner
do
of the
it. So I just want to clarify
establishment. No.
that you think it's okay because he was the
example.
owner. You think it was okay
So,
for
for
the
example,
man
if-
to perv on naked changing women without their consent against their will because he owned the space?
So, for example, if there's a woman's bathroom and someone thinks there's something happening in there, the owner who has the key can legally walk in there because it's his establishment. Yes or no?
So you're saying that they have the legal ability, sure. I mean, I bet he did have the legal ability. There's never charges pressed. But I don't think that having the legal ability to do something makes it okay. Like, for instance, 250
But you're
years
claiming-
ago,
you're claiming it's not
having the
okay.
having the legal ability, like people had the legal ability to rape their slaves. So are you saying that him perving on the naked teenagers and women was okay for the same reasons that it was okay in your eyes for a slave owner to rape enslaved individuals?
And that's so we differentiate an opinion. You think he's perving on them because he's a man, and inherently, I don't think men are pervs. So, because if you believe that men are pervs, any man that's inside a woman's space is perving on women, then that's.
I think that we
Oh,
should
you're
just
gonna
play
mute
the
me?
clip. I want everybody to make sure
No,
that
I'm just pointing out the fact that you muted me and
Yeah,
you were claiming I was interrupted.
I am
Go ahead.
muting you because I'm going to play the clip just so everybody knows
can't debate
exactly what he's saying about. I'm debating you right now, and seemingly everybody thinks I'm winning, and so do I.
How can you debate me if you don't let me make an argument?
Well, because your argument is like incredibly perverted, incredibly morally grotesque, and has my mouth wide open.
Actually,
Like
yours is you're claiming
I
men are
don't think
perverts.
that you
So are you a
saying
pervert?
that I don't
Hold on,
think.
so are you a pervert?
No, because I haven't walked into
Okay.
teenage girls and women's changing rooms to perv on them while they were naked and then talked about how beautiful they looked without their consent, against their will, while they were in a space with no men around, and then admitted that I could get away with things like that, then bragged that on top of hitting on a 10-year-old girl, on top of being held civilly liable for raping a woman, on top of agreeing with Howard Stern, calling my
that's
own
another
daughter a hot piece of ass. So
That's
when you sit
misinformation.
here and you tell me, oh, you're just calling him a pervert because he's a man. You're just calling him a pervert because he's a man. No, I'm calling him a pervert because he's a man that took advantage of his power, walked into a space that was for women, designed by women, with only women in it, that felt comfortable de-dressing, being naked, to change into clothes because there was no men around, that upheld that societal expectation in that space to be around no men, to then have that men walk into that space, look at them while they were naked with no clothes on, and then talk about how good they look. That's what I'm calling pervy. And the fact that you can agree with me, even as it relates to women, but sure as hell 15-year-old girls like Victoria is fucking insane. You're a threat to society. But let's go ahead and roll the clip because I just want to make sure
Can I reply
everybody
and crash
watching.
out like you did for a minute?
No, I don't think that you have a right to crash out like I do. But let's go ahead and play the clip for everybody
You're inherently
listening
wrong,
that
but-
doesn't know what we're talking about. Because after I play this clip and then you start talking again, I want to make sure that everybody's on the same page. Okay? Everybody's on the same page. So let's go ahead and roll the clip. Keep in mind, everybody, this clip and the actions that Donald Trump is describing that he's done in the clip that I'm about to play, it's only around 40 seconds long, is something that this guest is describing as non-problematic, okay, and non-perverted at all. Let's go ahead and roll it.
Interest, but you know, it's the kind of thing you worry about later.
Oh, I see.
You tend to think about the conflict a little bit later
The
on.
question is, how can it not be construed?
No, I mean, some of these foreign girls, Mr. Trump, in my country, we say hello with vagina. And
Well, you could also say, as the owner of the pageant, it's your obligation to do that.
So you have done that. Now, tell
Well,
me
I'll
what-
tell you the funniest is that I'll go backstage before a show.
Yes.
And everyone's getting dressed and ready and everything else. And, no men are anywhere. And I'm allowed to go in because I'm the owner of the pageant, and therefore I'm inspecting it. You know, I'm inspecting. I want to make sure that
You're like a
everything is
doctor.
good.
You're there.
Yeah, the dress. Is everyone okay? You know, they're standing there with no clothes. Is everybody okay? And you see these incredible-looking women, and so I sort of get away with things like that.
Defend it. I
So you
dare
claimed there was where did it? Yeah. So you claimed there was teenagers involved, underage contestants. Where in that interview, where in that clip do they mention underage teenagers?
Oh yeah,
And that's where the claim was. And then also,
the reason.
hold on.
Oh, you don't expect me to answer your question?
I mean, I was gonna make two questions, but go ahead.
Yeah,
Answer that one.
The reason why I make the claim about women and teens is because we know one of those teens. Her name's Victoria. She comes up here frequently.
Right, and that's when I told you that her claim was made on BuzzFeed in 2016. So anyone who wants to believe anything that comes from BuzzFeed,
so she's been talking
from
about it since 2016. Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah,
So just don't
she
believe
waited
that it
until
happened
he
there?
ran for president. If she had, maybe credible evidence, not a BuzzFeed claim.
Well, I mean, I think his
I
admission
mean,
is credible.
would have went to the
evidence.
police, maybe like sued him. Be a lot more credible than going to BuzzFeed and making a wild claim in 2016.
So
But
I think the clip I
regardless,
just played is
right,
credible
so
evidence.
That's just to point out you misconstrue everything.
The clip I just played is credible evidence. I mean, by the way, if anybody in here has Victoria friended, feel free to send this live to her. I'd love for her to come up.
You're interrupting every time I speak, just so you know.
I don't really care anymore. And I don't really think anybody watching has any massive
destroyed?
problems either with me muting you and kind of interjecting and cutting in and saying things that are incredibly relevant to what you're saying. But I think maybe one big takeaway here is that you're just denying that this happened to teenagers. Okay. Well, I can't wait for Victoria to come up here and tell you her story, then just have you victim blame her too. But
Anecdotal evidence.
but I think what's important here is it's not anecdotal evidence when it's corroborated by Donald Trump's own admission of guilt. Is in that clip, Donald Trump is definitely talking about doing this to women. Okay, and I don't think that it's any more wrong to do this unconsensually to women than to teenagers. Right? And you were saying that him doing this to women was not wrong, not problematic, completely acceptable, completely fine and okay, and not pervy. So how about we address that?
What, the fact that it's not perverted?
Sure, defend that claim after listening to the clip that you just heard.
Yeah, you're claiming it's perverted because it's Donald Trump because he's a man, or so again, what is the reason that you think it's perverted?
Yeah, well,
Because
I mean,
would you do the same? Because
I've
if
already
you, because
detailed.
because
Oh,
if you
you're
went
asking
in
me a
backstage,
question.
hold on.
You don't ask me a
Well,
question.
you first hold on. I'm trying to answer. So you made the claim that he called them beautiful. Apparently, that's perverted. Now, if you recognize a woman as beautiful, or if you recognize a woman as pretty, or if you call her pretty, apparently that's not perverted.
Can we?
Also,
guys,
you
do we
claim,
want to take a poll on how many brain cells this guy has? This guy's an idiot.
dude, why are you getting so triggered?
Do I sound triggered?
You are. You're literally insulting me now because you can't debate me and you're starting to mute me. I've never seen this from
Wait,
you.
I
Actually,
just want to clarify.
Right.
Not every time person A calls person
You're acting
B,
up.
One moment. Not every time person A calls person B an idiot or says that person B doesn't have many brain spells or isn't that smart. That's not always indicative of somebody being upset, angry, triggered, or wrong. Sometimes people are idiots. I think when you set forth the precedent that whenever anybody calls anyone else an idiot, they're automatically wrong and triggered. Well, the implication there is that there's zero idiots alive. Okay, that's not true. Some of us are idiots, and my claim is just simply that you're one of those people. All right. The reason why I claim
and you should be able to defend your point of view. You should
yeah, I'm defending it right now. So the reason why I think you're one of those
Bit of
people,
ad hominem,
the reason why I
that's
think
ad
that,
hominem.
one second, an ad hominem is disputing your argument with a personal intact. I'm just personally insulting you. But anyways,
what you just
the
did.
reason why I think that you're an idiot is because you think the fact that Donald Trump has called a woman beautiful in the context of that clip where he's talking about unconsensually walking into a woman's changing room, looking at naked women, and then calling them,
That's a wild claim.
and then calling them beautiful is probably the issue. The reason why I'd call that action perverted is I fear commonsensical. So we have these things called societal contracts. These could be implicit or explicit. I'll give you an example of an implicit societal contract. An example of an implicit. One moment. Don't interrupt me. An example of an implicit societal contract is the idea that when you go to a restaurant, you implicitly accept that the food you order is something you will pay for after your meal. All right. It's not like you have to explicitly agree to that when you sit down. It's not like you have to explicitly agree to that when you get a table. It's something that you implicitly accept. And I mean, we see these implicit societal contracts in schools as well. You know, like it's an implicit societal contract that if like you're a 45-year-old dude, you can't just walk into an elementary school classroom. And another place where we see these implicit societal contracts are like in women's restrooms or like changing rooms, and like oftentimes it's even explicit. But there's definitely like an implicit understanding and contractual agreement between the people and like a safe and sancted in a safe place such as a women's changing room, that these individuals are only comfortable with de-dressing, taking their clothes off, being naked, and putting new clothes on because like it's just a space with other women like them, right? And I mean, like Donald Trump even like mentions this in the recording that I just played because he says there's no men around. It's a space just for women, right? So, I mean, if there's a man that goes into that space, like it's going to be violating that implicit contract, violating the implicit consent of all of the women in that space that have taken their clothes off. And that's going to be perverted because the intentions of the man in this circumstance was to look at them while they were naked, right? But they weren't naked so they could have a man look at them. They were naked so they could get new clothes on, surrounded by other women in a women's changing room. All right. And then he takes it one step further by saying, when he's unconsensually looking at these naked women that didn't get naked so any man could look at them, but rather so they could change, that they looked very beautiful. All right. And I think that's very violating. It's violating for the reason that he's violating their consent. It's violating for the reason that they're not naked for a man to look at them. And it's violating for the reason that when he did non-consensually look at them while they're naked, he then turns around and talks about how good they look. Right? And I think that Donald Trump like recognizes like these violations of these implicit societal contracts and of consent, because at the end of that clip, he says that he could get away with these things. Okay, well, you don't say that you could get away with good things, okay, because we should do good things, right? When you say that you could get away with things, you're saying that you could do bad things and face no consequences. Anyways, there's why you're wrong, and there's why you look crazy.
Okay. So I mean, I'm glad that you were able to speak for like a solid 2 minutes. Am I able to respond now?
Yeah, sure, why not?
Yeah, I mean, you just made a great argument as to why trans women shouldn't be allowed into women's spaces because the women in there, you know, don't agree. They didn't sign anything explicitly saying that, yeah, I'm okay with someone who was born a man going into my changing rooms. That's why I pointed out your hypocrisy, and you wanted to deflect from that. So again, if you're claiming that a man shouldn't go into a woman's space because men are going to look at them and are going to be inherently creepy, so then that's why we shouldn't let trans women into women's bathrooms. That's an amazing point. Thank you for that amazing argument.
Yeah, so I have
but
reasons
again,
why I still think that trans women should be able to use a women's restrooms, and I've already asserted and addressed that. And I mean, I'd be interested in giving you an argument, but the only reason why I'm not interested
No, I
in
don't need
giving
one.
you
It's
an
okay.
the only reason why I'm not interested in giving you an argument right now is because you're just using this to pivot. You're using this to pivot away from the fact that you said
Amazing
that
you
you
brought that
found
up. Yeah.
nothing wrong, nothing perverted about Donald Trump going into that space. Right? And I actually find it funny that you're trying to pivot away from your position, that you find nothing wrong nor perverted about Donald Trump walking into the women's restroom, and my dismissal of your point, and then you use that to pivot a trans woman going in the women's restroom. Because
will address that
it's
right
actually
now,
it's actually funny because then
Can I
the
address that?
implication here is if you think that my position would logically imply that trans women shouldn't be able to go into the women's restroom because I think it's wrong for Donald Trump to go into a women's changing room, well, your position would imply the inverse, meaning that you think your position implies that trans women should go into the women's restroom.
I haven't.
But this transphobe
my argument.
won't admit that. So
I
that's
haven't
why your pivot is disingenuous, and that's why
That's not
your
right.
pivot is intellectually flawed. But no
I think-
pivots. I want you to
muting
stay.
me and not being able to.
Yeah, I'm muting you because you're interrupting me. It's not disingenuous to uphold decent boundaries.
You haven't let me speak.
But I don't expect you to understand this because we are unironically debating
speak yet,
decent
though.
boundaries.
You're losing the debate, but that's okay.
I'm not. Once again, just upholding boundaries, no interruption. That's a
You're
boundary.
mute. You are losing.
We'll
Letting
wait
you
for him to
speak
finish.
Let you speak for a solid
We'll
2
wait for him to
minutes.
do the thing. He's doing the thing. He's freaking out like a toddler. Sometimes you can't reason rationally. You just have to, do it emotionally like they do. This is like putting your toddler in timeout for 10 minutes. We're spam muting him until he stops interrupting me. But anyways, I wouldn't expect.
trying to
And
unmute.
there he goes. There he goes. We'll wait.
I wasn't trying to.
There he goes. He's still interrupting me. But I just want to clarify. This is predictable. Like this guy doing the whole it's your fault that I interrupted you and you're the bad guy for enforcing a boundary by muting me when I interrupt you. We would expect that from this guy. He doesn't understand boundaries. He's defending Donald Trump violating the boundary of women in a women's changing room. But anyways, the final point, without pivoting this time, tell me why I'm wrong. Convince me that the long list of reasons I gave you, while it was wrong and pervy for Donald Trump to go into the women's changing room, tell me why my argument's flawed. Go ahead.
Right, because other contestants from the pageants have defended him, saying he was not perverted. He was very professional. Again, you're implying that he is perverted because he called them beautiful. I think you can call a woman beautiful and
no, he's perverted because he went into the space with
so
the
I can't make an argument because you're
period.
crashing out. Go ahead, crash out again, Dean. Go ahead.
I'm not crashing out.
Not surprising.
You're just
Not surprising from someone that needs to intake nicotine. But go ahead.
I'm not crashing out. You're just misrepresenting my argument. He was perverted because he was in the space, point blank, period.
Okay, so because he's a man, he is okay. That's fine. Amazing argument, Dean.
You went into this
So
space with a
I'm
negative
glad you brought up
intention
the
of looking at
deflection
them
though,
while
because
they're
the
naked.
reason
Yeah.
you even brought this up is to deflect from the Southern and immigration problem when the girl brought that up in the first place. When the girl tried to bring up immigration, you deflected and you always run from immigration, which is actually why I came up here in the first place, because I'm a Mexican immigrant myself. But again, just to make it clear, just because he called him beautiful doesn't make it perverted. He had full access to that whole building, so it was his pageant. Other pageant members have defended him, saying he is not perverted. He was very professional, cordial. The people that have accused him, they accused him on BuzzFeed in 2016. Again, you said they were teenagers. The clip was talking about adult women. It might be wrong. Yeah, I think it's wrong that a man looks at an adult woman that's naked without her consent. And I think if they felt...
What if one of those contestants was your daughter?
Okay, so you muted me again. I didn't realize you muted me. I don't know how much you heard.
What if one of those contestants was your daughter? So let's just go through like a line of the things that Donald Trump has done. So in 1992, he told a 10-year-old girl that he'd be dating her in 10 years.
I'm glad you brought that up.
Let's assume that one moment. Let's assume that 10-year-old girl was your daughter. Okay. Donald Trump tells your daughter that he'd be dating her in 10 years. 10 years later, she's 20. It's 2005. And she's at the Miss USA pageant backstage, naked, getting dressed. Donald Trump walks into there, looks at her while she's naked, then goes on Howard Stern's podcast and says that he could get away with it and she was super beautiful. And she did that without your daughter's consent. How would you feel?
So just to be clear, you're more afraid of your daughter being creeped on by Donald Trump, the president of the United States, than, a man dressed up as a woman going into the women's bathroom, just to be clear.
So this is your third time you've tried to pivot to talking about trans women.
Just to be clear, I'm just asking for a
to pivot to
clarification.
trans women.
Okay, that's what I thought. So, I mean, you just made a crazy hypothetical. What if this was your daughter who became a Miss Beauty pageant? Trump talked to her at 10 years old, and then she became 20 years old. And that's the craziest hypothetical ever, and you can't even address the point that I made. That's actually very relevant. The fact that you think your daughter is in more danger from the president of the United States, Donald Trump, than by any guy who can put on a wig and a dress and walk into the women's bathroom.
Yeah, you continue to try to pivot to trans people.
I don't want to talk
That's a fourth time. And I think that it's funny that you try to... So I think it's funny that this whole time you've just wanted to pivot to a conversation about trans individuals.
I don't want to talk about trans people.
I begrudgingly, I haven't given you my argument on why I think that trans... Hey, buddy, don't interrupt me. I haven't given you my argument on why I think that trans women should be able to use the women's restroom, because when I do give you my argument, you'll just simply use it as a tool to pivot away from the only conceptually relevant thing here, in which is that you deny that sick men are sick men, and I think that you should fucking, dude, I think that you should lose rights for that shit. Like, you shouldn't be allowed to have children, you shouldn't be allowed to get married to a woman. I think that you're a threat to society, you should lose rights for that shit. But that's neither here nor there. Overwhelmingly, right, if you're curious on what my response would be to the 5 times that you've tried to pivot to trans women using the women's restroom, I think segregating the restrooms on the basis of gender identity to compare it to sex is actually safer for both the cis and trans women in the space. The reason why I say that is because if we do segregate the restrooms on the basis of sex, that means that trans men, females, should be using the women's restroom, but trans men can be more masculine or just as masculine presenting as cis men because of the effect that testosterone has on any human body. So when we segregate the restrooms on the basis of sex, it allows for more masculine presenting individuals to go into the space. Meanwhile, if we were to segregate it on the basis of gender identity, relatively speaking, it would allow less masculine presenting individuals to use the space because trans men are more masculine presenting on average compared to trans women. So basically, there would be a lower there'd be a lower likelihood that a cis man would be able to claim themselves as a trans woman and take advantage of women in the space compared to them simply claiming themselves as a trans man, right? So there's the argument. Finally, I'm finally.
I made
giving
it clear I
I'm
don't wanna
finally
talk
giving-
about it.
Of course, you don't want to talk about it because you can't beat me there either. That's fine. So then don't try to pivot to it 5 times to call me an idiot hypocrite just because you want to deflect from the one point you can't deflect, which is the fact that if that 10-year-old girl was your daughter that Donald Trump said he would date in 10 years, and then 10 years later, she was a contestant at Miss USA, and then he unconsensually walked in on her while she was naked, and then went on a podcast and blasted about how beautiful she was with her boobs out, how would that make you feel? How would that make you feel, sir? What do you think, that he was a
You just made
pervert?
the claim unconsensual. You just made the claim unconsensual. Are you saying that people don't know that they're changing in a changing room?
I'm saying that they don't consent to a man walking in on them while they're changing in the changing room. Yeah, I feel like that's kind of common sense.
Okay, so just to be clear, every woman in a woman's space should consent to who's going inside.
Every woman in a woman's space agrees to the implicit societal contract that it is once again a space for women, as you pointed out. It's implied in the woman's space, just like every person that buys a meal at a restaurant agrees to an implicit societal contract that when they're done eating their food, they're going to pay for it.
You just made my
that's the
argument.
implication
Thank
of
you,
women's spaces. So then once again, please answer the question.
I don't
If it
have
was
to
your
say anything.
10-year-old, yeah, you're not going to say shit because you got fucking owned. See, this is the burn. This is the burn, buddy. How does it feel to get absolutely
You just made my
intellectually
argument for me.
mobbed
Repeat it again,
by a
Dean.
motherfucker
Repeat it again,
that is
Dean.
a billion
Repeat it
times
again,
more
Dean. You just
intelligent
made
than
my
you,
argument for
more
me.
wise, more mature, and better than you in every regard
You're crashing
whatsoever?
out. Your ego's just huge and you're crashing out. Want me to turn my camera on?
God, it's fucking crazy because I don't even have an ego. You're just a
mog
fucking
you?
rock, bro. Anybody
Can I mog
with
you?
half of a brain, anybody
camera on so I
with
can mog you.
half human, human decency would mog the fuck out of you. This isn't about ego. I'm so sorry. My fucking family dog
argument.
could
You
claim
literally
that they're infinitely more intelligent
just
than you,
made the
and they'd be
argument as
right.
to why
My
trans women
fucking
shouldn't go-
2-year-old toddler could make the claim that they're more
Why are you
intelligent than
crashing
you,
out,
and
bro?
they'd be right. So it's
Is
not
this
about an
new?
ego.
Is this new for you, the whole crashing out, or is this just me?
If you think that this is a crash out, you obviously haven't been here long enough.
I mean, you're yelling over me and you muted me. I didn't see you do that to anybody else that was up
Yo,
here. when
Milo,
they're
thank
very
you so much for the
unintellectual.
$15 over on PayPal. I appreciate you for the claim,
Mark,
Milo.
you don't
One
mean-
second, I'm thinking donors. Milo with $15. Milo says, I watch you in the background while I draw.
Who donated to me?
Hey,
Thank you guys.
shh, I'm thinking some donors. Milo for
The
the
3.1K.
Shh. Milo says, thank you and happy Pride Month, Dean. Happy Pride Month, Milo. I appreciate you for the $15 over on PayPal. As well as Celine, thank you for the $15 on PayPal as well. Shout out to Milo and Celine down below in that chat. I really appreciate you guys so much for the love. I'd also like to thank, let's see here, Ali for the $50 on Venmo. This was about an hour ago. I just hadn't been looking at my phone because I was just destroying this guy for an hour straight. God, I'd hate to be this guy right now. Ali says, I missed the live yesterday due to work, but thank you. I watched it this morning for what you said about mental health in schools. It should be a much bigger priority. I agree 110%. Thank you so much for the $50, Ali. Show some love to Ali down below in that chat. And then Christine with the $50 on Venmo 10 minutes ago saying that this current sexual assault sympathizer caller is insane and a danger to society. Kudos to you for dealing with that. Thank you so much for the love, Christine. Show some love to Christine down below in that chat, and that's absolutely right.
Condemns SA and grape.
No, you
Fully
don't.
Condemn that.
No, so I have a question.
I do.
How come that you'll
You did
condemn
it right
rape,
now.
but you won't condemn a man unconsensually walking into a woman's changing room and perving on them while they're naked?
You're the one making the claim that it's perving on them. I'm telling you that he wasn't perving it on them. So
Okay, sure. We'll replace the word perving with looking.
based-
So how come
based
you'll say that
on
rape
some
is
other-
bad, but then you won't say that it's wrong for me to
Based on
unconsensually walk into a woman's changing room and look at them while they're naked without their consent against their will, and then go on a podcast and blast about how good
that
their
you
boobs
have to
looked?
mute me. Why can't I talk? The fact that you have to mute me proves that you can't debate me, dude. Again,
wait, I'm so
you're
sorry.
making the
wait,
claim
wait.
that he
Why
is-
should I respect your wants, your thoughts, your desires, and your feelings about me intruding upon you by muting your microphone when you won't respect the thoughts, feelings, and desires of women changing in a woman's space, in a woman's changing room, and yet you don't think it's wrong for men to walk into that space? I'm not so sure that you're concerned with
You
consent,
support-
so why should I be concerned with your consent?
Dean, you support women going into women's bathrooms. I mean, trans women going into women's bathrooms. So
Okay, let me
again,
know
you're
when
being
you're
a
done.
hip.
I didn't mute you. You muted yourself.
I told you it's not perverted because you.
Oh, now it's a MAGA mobile. I'm not even muting him. I don't know what's going on. I'm not muting him. Hands in the air, guys. Anyways, I guess he's figuring out whatever he wants to do. So let me know when I could speak. I have my hand up.
Yeah, I get to speak now. Finally.
I guess I should say one more thing. So this is now your 7th time bringing up that I support trans women in the women's restroom. For the first 4 times you brought this argument up, I just told you that you were
amazing
one moment.
arguments as to
One
why they
moment.
shouldn't go into the bathroom.
One moment. The first 4 times you brought this position up, I just ignored it. I said you're pivoting. Address the substance of Donald Trump perving.
I don't want to talk about
Okay.
trans people.
So Torta, this is why I've
So I'm not
muted you.
pivoting to that.
This is why I've muted you, because you interrupted me. So can you stop that? Can you stop interrupting me and allow me to finish?
Wait, you said we can interrupt each other if we misconstrue each other's arguments, and that's what you just did to me.
I'm not misconstruing. I'm not misconstruing your argument because I'm not even talking about an argument that you gave. I'm talking about the points in which you've brought up, like the fact that you've responded to me referencing Donald Trump unconsensually walking into women's restrooms and changing rooms 7 times, and then all 7 times you responded to that by bringing up the fact that I'm okay with trans women going into women's restrooms. So the first 4 times you brought this up,
up the fact that
Okay,
other pageant members
Torta,
defend him and say he's
Torta,
professional.
So Torta, I am going to go ahead and kick you if you interrupt me one more time. I'm making this boundary clear, and the reason I'm making this boundary clear is because if you violate the boundary and you interrupt me again, I'm going to move on, and I'm going to consider you to be a runner. Like the only reason that you could have to interrupt me one more time would be the fact that you want to run from me because you cannot take my intellectual wisdom and my great debate performance. So obviously, if you interrupt me again, that means that you've lost. You bow out and you're running because you want me to kick you. Got to talk like they do. Got to use their own reasoning against them. But anyways, right? So you brought up the counter argument of saying, Dean, well, this must imply that you don't support trans women in the women's restroom. The first 4 times you brought this up, I just simply called out the fact that you're pivoting and told you not to pivot. And then the 5th time that you brought this up, I finally entertained it. I gave you an argument why I actually think it's better for the safety of all women in the women's restroom for trans women to use the space. And then when I gave you the argument, you didn't respond and you said that you don't want to talk about it. Okay, well, if you don't want to talk about it, if you don't want to refute my position, then don't fucking bring it up. But yeah, man, without pivoting to trans women this time, respond to the meat on the bone. And if you need me to repeat the meat on the bone because you're so lost and stupid that you probably can't track a single 2-syllogism argument, let me know and I will repeat it for you.
Okay, I'm going to talk now. I'm sorry that I'm triggering you. I'm sorry you're getting mad. So again, I'm going to repeat it. Carrie Prejean defended Trump. She is Miss California USA 2009. She defended Trump, stating in her 2009 memoir that he is very professional and respectful, defending him against the accusations. So this suggests that, Trump was not being creepy. He was being professional and respectful. So why haven't you addressed that claim? The fact that other contestants in his pageants have defended him, saying that when he does go backstage, he is professional and respectful. And again, it's very wild that you use these claims from like 2001, 2000, whatever, early 2000s to deflect when that girl was bringing up immigration. You're a runner, dude. You're a runner. You're a track star.
Okay, so I actually debated that last woman on the live, not a girl, on immigration, as well as, I don't know if you weren't listening closely, but Tony, the guy that was left over, said that he came up here to talk to me about immigration. He asked me for my view on immigration, and I gave it to him. If anything, you're just deflecting. And then to respond to the first claim that you made, that there's been a lady that's defended him at the pageant, saying that he was professional and respectful. Well, earlier you told me, when I brought up Victoria's experiences of her being 16 and Donald Trump going backstage and looking at her while she changed, you said that you can't believe it because it's merely speculatory allegation. So it's funny that you could believe a woman when she says that Donald Trump is professional and respectful, but you can't believe a woman when they say that Donald Trump is not professional nor respectful. But I think let's go ahead and just believe her when she says that Donald Trump is being professional and respectful. Okay, well, what now? Well, I know what now, because it's not just an allegation that he wasn't being professional or respectful. He admitted to it in the clip I played. Like I find it very difficult to defend the view that Donald Trump walking in to a woman's changing room just to look at them with no clothes on. Is that professional? Because that's what he admitted to.
That's not what he admitted to. That's uncorroborated. And again, you're just making assumptions. You're claiming that he went in there to look at them undressed.
Could be a conflict of interest, but it's the kind of thing you worry about later.
Yeah, please.
You tend to think about the.
You also made the claim teens were
The
involved.
question is, how can it not be construed?
No, I mean, some of these foreign girls, Mr. Trump, in my country, we say hello with vagina. And
Well, you could also say, as the owner of the pageant, it's your obligation to do that.
So you have done that. Now, tell
Well,
me
I'll
what-
tell you the funniest is that I'll go backstage before a show.
Yes.
And everyone's getting dressed and ready and everything else. And, no men are anywhere. And I'm allowed to go in because I'm the owner of the pageant, and therefore I'm inspecting it. You know, I'm inspecting. I want to make sure that
You're like a
everything is
doctor.
good.
You're there.
Yeah, the dress. Is everyone okay? You know, they're standing there with no clothes. Is everybody okay? And you see these incredible-looking women. No, or I'm inspecting it. You know, I'm inspecting. I want to make sure that
You're like a
everything is
doctor.
good.
You're there.
Yeah, the dress. Is everyone okay? You know, they're standing there with no clothes. Is everybody okay? And you see these incredible-looking women. Everyone okay? Or I'm inspecting it. You know, I'm inspecting. I want to make sure that
You're like a
everything
doctor.
is good.
You're there.
Yeah, the dress. Is everyone okay? You know, they're standing there with no clothes. Is everybody okay? And you see these incredible looking women. And so I sort of get a whip. No clothes. And I want to make sure that
You're like a
everything is
doctor.
good.
You're there.
Yeah, the dress. Is everyone okay? You know, they're standing there with no clothes. Is everybody okay? And you see these incredible looking women. And so I sort of get away with things like that.
So what was that you're saying?
Did that make
I
you
think
feel like you won the argument?
I think yeah, it did.
Hold on, did
It-
that
the
make
re-
you feel like you?
Yes, the answer to your
That's
question
very
is
mature.
yes. The reason it makes me think that I won the argument is because the very last thing
You're
that
a
came
child, Dean.
the very last thing that came out of your mouth is that it was an
Frontal lobe hasn't
uncorroborated
developed.
false claim that he went in the rooms to look at the naked women. Yeah, I win. Thanks.
No, I think your frontal lobe hasn't developed, Dean.
Oh, personal insult. You lost.
No, that's not a personal insult. That's actual factual evidence. How old are you? How old are you, Dean?
I'm 20.
Exactly. Your frontal lobe hasn't developed, Dean. It's
Right.
not a personal
Right.
attack. It's just truth.
Yeah, yeah. No,
So
I
again,
get
so
it, man.
you
Cope
use these
Seeth.
claims
Cope
from-
Seeth.
you use
Cope
these
Seeth.
clips-
Cope Seeth, please do it. Continue to cope and Seeth. I love it.
This is why you don't do nicotine, kids. Calm down, Dean. So
I-
again,
oh,
this is
guys,
exactly.
guys, I love
Okay.
the cope and the Seeth. I love it. It's so cute.
Bro, I'm completely calm. You're freaking out over here, and I'm
No,
trying to
you're
reply.
not completely calm. Like I played
I'm
your
trying
clip
to
of
reply
Donald
to
Trump contradicting what you said, and then you just started
trying
talking
to
about
reply
frontal lobe.
I'm
Cope
trying to
and
reply
Seeth.
to the clip you just played.
Feel free.
I'm trying to reply to the clip you just.
Oh, wait, before you do, I gotta thank Peter for the $50 donation on Venmo. Peter
Oh,
says,
thanks,
here's-
guys. I'm at 3.6 now. Thank you,
Oh,
guys.
he doesn't like the donations either.
Donations, guys.
Oh,
Thanks for the rose. Thank you, guys.
Oh, are the
Appreciate
donations
it.
making you crash out?
Make sure to follow Torta Patrol on TikTok and every other platform.
Is the fact that Peter
Kidding,
donated me
guys.
$50 just to say that I fucking
Thank you,
destroyed
guys.
this
Thank
putrid
you, guys.
Wait, can I read
Thank
you off?
guys. Can we go to immigration now? Because I'm a Mexican immigrant.
Oh,
so
you wanna
that's the
pivot.
main reason I came up here. I just
So
wanted to prove every
I need
bit
to-
of misinformation that you pointed out.
I need to
Also, like the Diddy and Kamala thing. Kamala thanked Diddy for
I need
hosting
to. Oh,
the
hey,
2020
hey, man,
town hall.
stop crashing out,
He
please.
said, "Thank you, Diddy."
Hey,
Hey
please, sir.
everybody, it's good to be
Please,
with you this evening.
please stop crashing out. I was in the middle of thanking Peter.
You always
I'm gonna need you to stop crashing out. This guy's crashing out, everybody.
I was playing a clip of Kamala.
You're crashing out. I was thanking Peter. Would you mind giving me?
okay.
Okay, then stop interrupting me while I thank my donors. Peter, thank you for the
I was
$50.
just thanking my donos, guys.
Oh, geez, this guy is crashing out. Peter with a $50 over on Venmo for destroying this putrid excuse of a man who's just exposing himself as a standard, insecure, coward, MAGA predator. Yeah, I fucking destroyed this guy. Now he's crashing out. Thank you for the $50. As well as Adriana, thank you for the $10 over on Venmo saying, can this guy get some brain cells? No, he can't. Natalie with a $20 saying, please keep muting him. Dude, I've been
No, I don't
just
use
destroying him
clips
this
from
whole
the
time.
early
Oh, wait.
2000s to try to-
Boom! I'm going to mute you because Natalie paid me $20 to do so.
Yes, for the
Marina,
roses.
thank you so
Thank
much
you
for the
guys.
$10 over on Venmo. Melanie with a $20. Thank you so much, Melon Y. Thank you so
I
much
think
for
you
the
guys
love.
donating is
Thank you
making
so
me
much for the
mad.
love. I also really appreciate
you
you,
guys
Jasper,
donating
for
to
the
me is making me
$6
mad.
over on Venmo, as well as Odessa with the $10 on Venmo. Mariah with a 200 Norwegian dollars over on YouTube Super Chat. I appreciate you guys so much for the love, as well as Andrew with a $20 over on PayPal. Money to the sea. Thank you for the love, Andrew. And Gerardo with a $200 donation on Venmo. Gerardo with the $200. Wait, 1 second.
Let's go.
Share.
1.1K. Let's go,
Sure.
guys. I love you guys.
Sure, I have to
You guys are the
thank
best.
Gerardo for the $200 donation over on Venmo for destroying this coward. Let's go. Let's get 2,000 Gerardo W's down
Should we
below in
debate
the
about
chat.
immigration?
Sure, I'm still thanking Gerardo. Please, thank you.
Oh,
Thank you
okay.
so much for the love,
Thank you
Gerardo.
guys for
Let's
the
get
donations.
2,000
Donations are
Gerardo
still coming
W's
in.
down
Damn,
below in the
thank you
chat.
guys. You guys are fucking awesome.
Yo, can you say W Gerardo
Thank
real
you,
quick?
Uncle Jovi. You're awesome. Thank you, Kaz. Kaz with the sass. Definitely sassy. Matt Amaya. Oh wait, no, that's to you. Never mind. Uncle Jovi, damn, still going. Time 68.
By the way, the stream
Thank
can't hear you right now because
Koi-
you have to
Koi
mute
Price,
and you have to
thank you.
mute
That's
and
fine.
unmute your mic for the
That's
TikTok
fine.
stream in order to hear you.
That's okay. Thank you guys for all the donations.
Could you thank Gerardo for donating me $200?
No, he didn't donate to me.
Okay. All right, man. All right,
Guys,
man.
if you support Mexican immigrants, make sure to donate.
I'm gonna go ahead and just give you.
That's it.
Yeah, this man can't even hold a conversation anymore. All right, I'm gonna kick you, but before
Are you gonna run away?
You
You don't want to debate immigration?
I've just destroyed you as is. You could like
You're running your
request.
track star?
You could request up a different day to debate immigration. I'm
away.
definitely done with you for the day.
Dean's gonna run away from Torta Patrol. Clip that. Dean, let's just debate immigration, bro. Why don't you want to debate a Mexican immigrant about immigration? Are you afraid of Mexican immigrants? Do you not like Mexicans? What is it? Why
That
are you
was cringe. I've been talking to you for an hour, and I don't think I've said.
Yeah,
one
you went in
since there we go.
circles about something from.
I was just gonna say I've been talking to you
You
for.
went in circles about something from 2006, dude. No one cares about what happened.
Dude, I've been debating you
about
for.
what's happening now. Why can't you debate about what's happening now? Immigration.
I've been debating you for an hour, and I haven't been able to get a single sentence out. That's why I'm gonna kick you.
What are you talking about, bro? You crashed out for a solid 2 minutes. I literally have it all recorded.
That's
I'll
why.
make sure to
That's
clip
why.
that. Hold
That's
on,
why.
I'll make sure to
That's
clip
why.
that.
That's why I'm gonna
I'm
kick
literally
you,
gonna make a video of
dude.
you
If you want to stay up here and debate about immigration, then stop interrupting me. If you seriously, if you want like the highest level of like possibility to stay up here and debate me and debating me about immigration, you just gotta stop interrupting. But anyways,
Set a timer.
there we go.
What's the timer?
Before I consider debating you about immigration, I'm going to need you to respond to the last claim you made. So the last claim that you made was that Donald Trump did not go into the changing rooms with the naked women to look at them while they're naked. I then played you a clip where he explicitly said he went into the changing rooms with naked women and he looked at them while they're naked. Respond to that, and I'll consider debating
You played a
about
clip
immigration.
where there was a joking humor demeanor, where Howard Stern made a joke prior to that saying, "Oh, Mr. Trump, I pay you with my private parts." So obviously they're joking around, and then Trump made the joke about how he can go backstage and look at women that are naked because he's the only person allowed to go back there. And then I told you how other contestants, other pageant members, have made it clear that he was
Oh, so I
very
just want to make
respectful.
clear. I just want to be sure that you don't think he actually did this.
Okay. I thought we weren't interrupting each other, Dean.
No, you're not interrupting me. That's the deal. So I just want to make sure that just to be
Talk
clear,
about losing
that
a debate.
you don't think that he actually did this.
I didn't say that. He definitely went backstage. It's very clear he went backstage.
said he was
because,
joking.
one of the contestants weren't joking about. I said they had a joking demeanor about what he was saying. He was saying, "Oh, they're all naked."
Okay. So regardless if you think he had a joking demeanor, you still admit he actually did it. Thereby, you also admit that he actually walked back there to look at them while they were naked. Boom. Get fucked. You lost.
You're gonna run away now, or
No, I just pointed out.
reply?
I just pointed
No,
out the fact that you
I
just got
just told
fucked.
you,
I just pointed
I-
out the fact that you got fucked. The only way that you would be able to uphold the position that he didn't look at them naked backstage is if you uphold that it's something that he didn't do. So even if you argue that
That he
had
looked
a
at them
joking
naked
demeanor
backstage?
when he was talking to Howard Stern, well, you could say that he was joking, right? But apparently, according to you, he was joking about something that he actually did.
he's joking about why he was going back there when he actually went back there. Again, pageant members who are not Trump, who weren't in a joking setting.
Oh, yeah, I was joking about why we went back there. All right, let's go get the next guest up here. If you're not a grape apologist, hop in that queue. All right, if you're not a grape apologist, hop in that queue. We'll bring you up here to debate. We're gonna go to get that next guest, Gabby Patty, up on the live. Oh my God, you know what? That felt great. That felt fucking great. That felt so good to be able to shit on that man. I'm so sorry. I probably kept him up here longer than I should have. I was just literally having fun obliterating that guy. Dude, I would hate to be him. So I'm going to tell you guys exactly what he's going to do tonight. So tonight when he's going to bed, he's going to stay up until like 2 a.m. thinking about how we got absolutely shit on by Dean Withers. It's going to keep him up at night. He's probably going to text his friends and he's going to say, "Oh, what do I do now? How do I cope with this? How do I cope with the fact that Dean Withers absolutely obliterated me to bits and pieces?" I would fucking hate to be that guy right now. But anyways, we're going to go ahead and move on to the next guest. Everybody, if you're in that queue, make sure that means you support Trump. And if you do want to support me, y'all, you can find my Venmo, my PayPal, and the link tree in my bio. I get 100% of the proceeds on those platforms. Let's go and get that next guest up here. Oh, Parker, you just barely missed like the best guest ever. Like the most good faith,
Really?
kind-hearted, true, and intellectually driven guest we've ever had on the platform.
Really? Did they change their mind?
Yeah, bro. They changed their mind on everything.
Really?
Yeah.
That's cool.
I know.
They're not. They don't support Trump anymore.
No, yeah, they don't support Trump anymore. They changed their mind on everything. It was a great experience. Like I don't think that anybody
Yeah,
in
I
here.
could tell by the part where you were crashing out.
Yeah, I don't think that anybody in here has seen a guest quite like that last one, and just because of how kind they were. Becky, thank you so much for the $15 over on Venmo for just destroying that last guy. I appreciate you for the love, Becky. Everybody show some love down to Becky in that comment section. And seriously, if you're part of the 14,000 people on TikTok and you want to come up here and debate me, let me know down below in that chat. I'll pull you up here. We'll have a conversation, everybody. We were just seriously looking for that next guest as we speak, and it is very difficult to find them. I guess that we kind of scared all the Trump supporters away by shitting on that last guy. Let us know if you're MAGA down below in that comment section. We'll pull you up here, everyone. If you want to help us get a guest up here, Parker, that'd be sweet.
All right, for sure. By the way, everyone, tomorrow I should be on super early. I'm going to be on super early tomorrow.
All right, go ahead and put a MAGA down below in that chat if you're at least 18, support Trump, and want to come up here and debate.
Dean. Long time no see, little buddy.
Have you debated him before?
I don't know.
Oh, you bet we have. And he
Have you
obviously
have you
from the
debated me
point,
before?
just like I expected him to.
Have you debated me before?
Yeah, I have, Parker, and I obliterated you too.
Dude, what is your
So
fucking deal?
Either this person is a troll, right, or just wants to get kicked from the live because they know our like little thing.
Wait, can I debate you guys?
Maddie, how old are you?
Did you vote for Donald Trump?
I'm 18.
What year were you born in?
Did you vote for Donald Trump?
No, I didn't vote this year, but I was born in September 2006.
Do you support him?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. Why do you support him?
I think that he provides like a better economy for the U.S. because he cares more about the U.S. citizens.
Oh boy.
Like by
How does he provide a better economy? Can you give me like a single specific policy?
I'm so sorry. There's just a couple people that I had to thank here. I should have thanked them before we even started the conversation. But X, thank you so much for the $50 over on that YouTube super chat. Shout out X. X says, Happy Pride Month. Trans rights are human rights. Couldn't agree more, X. Let's get 500 XWs down below. Thank you guys so much for the love. Once again, I appreciate everyone so much. All right, Maddie, take it away.
So I support his policies of deportation because I feel like he cares more about the U.S. citizens and the American economy by that.
How does his deportation policy benefit the like working class Americans?
Whoops.
Because Cookie King mocks you guys to oblivion.
I had a feeling that was going to happen. Appreciate the Galaxy.
insanely.
L.
You guys have negative cancel tilt.
L Cookie King. L Cookie King.
Hey, Maddie.
W Cookie, bro. W Cookie.
Hey, Maddie.
Cookie for president 2025.
Hey, Maddie.
What?
Jobs.
Bro, don't
jobs.
say that word.
Get a job.
Let us know if you're MAGA down below in that chat and you want to come up and debate. We're going to go to get that next guest up on the stream literally right now, everybody. Right now, we're going to get that next guest up on that live, y'all. We got Emma loading into the box right now, as well as Carissa. Thank you for the $10 over on Venmo. Carissa says, let's go ahead and read it off here. Give us 1 minute. Carissa says, seriously, how do we get the people you debate arrested? Well, that guy will definitely probably be arrested later in his life. Like men that are just like see no issue with like men violating the consent of women. Yeah, they typically end up going to jail for like very bad things. So I bet he will be arrested in the future. What's up, Emma? Do you support Trump?
I do. I did vote for him this year.
How old are you?
I'm 23.
All right, and why the hell do you support Trump, the worst president of your life?
Well, I kind of know a little bit of everything, all categories that he does. I don't know. I've never done one of these, so I'm kind of new to the whole debate talk. But I kind of agree with most things that he says. I don't agree with how he says it, but the actions that he takes, I do agree with.
Okay, like which ones?
Immigration.
Okay, like what about immigration specifically?
Getting rid of all the people who are illegally entering this country. I do support him sending them back to where they came from and then giving them the chance to re-enter legally.
Okay,
after a certain period.
I think that mass deportation is a very bad thing. Can I tell you why?
Sure.
Yeah, I think because it has negative impacts on the American economy. I think it has negative impacts on like humanitarian concerns, ethical concerns, as well as I think it decreases overall qualities of lives and weakens American industries. So think about it this way. Undocumented immigrants as a demographic in America right now account for millions of laborers in the American labor force, strengthening and galvanizing American manufacturing. And that cannot be denied, okay? And these individuals contribute $300 billion with a B dollars to the GDP every single year and pay $100 billion with a B in taxes every single year on the federal, state, and local level. Simply removing them from the country costs $175 billion. Plus, you take on the opportunity costs of what will come with a weakened labor force, foregoing what they pay to the GDP and foregoing what they pay in taxes. So it's obviously very inefficient economically speaking. The more efficient thing to do would be to offer every single undocumented immigrant that hasn't committed a prior violent offense a pathway to citizenship or residency right now, right? They could stay in America, they could hop on that pathway, they could be documented and get residency or citizenship, and I think that's much better than mass deportation for the reasons I give.
I agree with what you're saying and how you're saying it. I do like the way that Trump is doing it this way because it just kind of cleans the entire plate. It gives everyone a clean slate, and it allows the homeless communities, the billions and billions of people in America who are American citizens, including veterans who live on the streets, it gives them a chance to have jobs, though it might not be jobs that they want. It'll be jobs there for them because it is going to
Undocumented
be
immigrants
people.
create more jobs. So when we do mass deportation, we lose jobs because our economy is weakened, our producers are less productive, there's less money being paid in taxes to support social safety nets, GDP growth slows, there's less jobs that are offered.
Did you say there are billions of people who are homeless in the United States?
I didn't even catch that. What?
Billions, millions. There's a lot of homeless people.
There
I
aren't
could be wrong. I don't know the exact
there
number.
aren't
They
even
go everywhere, they
millions.
lower.
There aren't even millions. But the point that I would make is that why are Republicans never supporting any policies that reduce homelessness, that reduce childhood poverty? Why do they support policies that actually harm those communities, specifically through the big beautiful bill, $800 billion being cut from Medicaid and $300 billion being cut from food stamps? Do you think that's very pro people who can't afford things?
Zach, are you MAGA?
Well, for
Yes, I just have one question for you, both you and Parker.
Okay, well, if you're MAGA and you just have one question, just wait for Emma to give her response, and you could hop in.
okay, thank you. Sorry, I didn't want to interrupt Zach. For the homeless community and what you said about them getting rid of food stamps and things like that, those political things. The first time that I've actually done one of these. Sorry, guys. Those resources were supposed to be very limited to begin with. They were not supposed to be something that you live off of for the rest of your life. So getting rid of them in general will actually push people. Yes, it's not an immediate thing. It is not immediate, but it will push people to eventually start to become more independent and get off of government resources.
Empirically speaking, you're false. I'm so sorry. So we have empirics on this. We've studied this. We've done it. We could compare the levels of social safety nets to different countries and to other countries with more or less in every country. The more social safety nets they have, the easier it is for people to go from being low income to middle income to high income. And the less social safety nets we have, the harder it is for individuals to break through those barriers and to scale their income and become a more productive citizen, economically speaking. So your claim is false, demonstrably false. Empirics prove it wrong. No. When we remove social safety nets, it only keeps more people poor. It does not push more people to excel. And that's not like theoretic. That's not a hypothesis. It's proven. It is proven. It's proven. It's proven. Study these social programs in Nordic countries. They're significantly better than they are here. They're significantly better than they are pretty much anywhere on the face of this planet. And there is significantly more social mobility, the ease an individual has in mobilizing their income and scaling income brackets than countries in America or any other country on earth. Okay, there's a direct one-to-one correlation between an individual's ability to scale their income and the amount of social safety nets offered to individuals in low income brackets.
Okay, I'm gonna be honest with you. I did not know that. I didn't do that research, so I appreciate you giving that information.
Of course.
But yeah, for that is the information that I have gathered and that I understood. But I thank you for enlightening me on that information.
Of course. Zach, what's your question?
Yeah, do you and Parker, are y'all thankful for Trump any at all?
Am I thankful for Trump? No.
Why? Why would we be thankful? We
neither one
literally
of y'all-
talk about how he's horrible every day.
Okay, so my question is,
Can I
if
guess?
you're not
Can I guess what it will be? Do you think that we should
What?
be thankful for Trump because if Trump wasn't president, then I wouldn't have 14,000 people watching my debate stream?
no,
Oh, okay. All right. Well, okay. Go ahead.
he has single-handedly going to make it easier for people our age to, not be miserable.
How so? By doing what policy?
I mean, I don't know about all that stuff, but
Yeah,
at the rate it's going.
I just want to let you know, Zach, that's a pretty important aspect to knowing whether or not if he's going to do that. Because if you don't know if he's going to do it or how he's going to do it, well, then it'd be pretty important, right, to know
Okay.
that.
Yeah. Also,
One
Zach,
more
he's just
Say
simply
that
just
he's going to do that.
he's just also simply not doing that. So, like his tax cuts, for instance, they raise your taxes. Like 80% of Americans are going to pay more in taxes because of his tax cuts. Okay, and they're only going to pay more in taxes the less money they make. Like the bottom 20% of income earners are going to lose $2,200 in after-tax income per year because of his tax cuts. Only the top 20% of income earners in this country are going to save more in after-tax income, and this is according to the Center on Budget and Policy Priorities.
Right. And I respect what both of y'all do. But one more question is, where would you advise someone, that doesn't have a lot of knowledge on any of this stuff to go and seek out and try to learn more? Where's the one place that you would, besides just summing it up and saying the internet?
Dude, honestly, if you want to learn more, I'd recommend independent journalists like Aaron Parnas. He posts every single day about what Donald Trump does. That's a way where you could have a constant flow of input of things that Donald Trump is doing, and then you could turn around and fact check them on shit like AP and Reuters. If you want to learn more, that's a great way to do it.
I gotcha.
Yeah. I guess if that's all, have a good rest of your day, Zach. Let's go and get that next guest up in the box while we are loading that next guest in. Traceless, thank you so much for the $10 over on YouTube Super Chat. Shout out Traceless as well as Allie for the $10 on Venmo saying, thank you for advocating for sane women. We appreciate you. I appreciate you. Thank you for the $10. That is incredibly kind of you, Allie. Thank you, Allie. I'd also like to thank Gary for the $10 over on PayPal saying you're a very good person. Thank you for the love, Gary. That is also Garree. Thank you, Gary, Allie, and Traceless. You guys are all awesome. What's up, Hannah? Are you MAGA?
Oh my god, Dean, no, I'm sorry. I requested.
No worries. You're based. Very awesome. Quite frankly, WU. If you're MAGA, let us know. We'll get you up here. Everybody. If you're MAGA, at least 18, support Trump, let us know. We are looking for that next Trump supporter. Should we just finally talk to Pat? Who's this Pat motherfucker?
Dean.
Who are you?
Traceless, thank you for the $10. Thank you so much.
Little buddy.
Who are you?
How's it going, Parker? How you doing?
Who are you?
Not bad, Traceless. Thank you so much, Traceless.
Who am I? I'm the agent of chaos sent to destroy your entire political perspective, dude.
Okay, do it.
Go ahead.
Cookie King mugs you.
Job.
God.
Get one. Get a fucking job, please. Fill out the application right now. Change your life for the better. Moving on to the next guest, everybody. What's up, you MAGA?
I voted for Trump in 2020.
Do you support him today?
now?
I feel like if you support him now, that's sort of the same thing as supporting flat.
Based. Oh, Parker, I gotta have you talk to this guy. Okay, we're only gonna leave him up here for 10 minutes. I just have to let Parker experience.
I only get 10 minutes. Okay.
I think I can destroy Parker in 10 minutes.
Only 10.
Why does he have 4,000 points? I'm confused.
Because I was destroying Dean. It was amazing. That's why he kicked me, dude.
I bet. So Dean having more points than you means he was destroying you, right?
No, he's the host of this live. He has 13,000 little. Okay, never mind.
Chat 10 minutes. We just gotta let Parker talk to him.
So go ahead.
Yeah, so he refused to debate me on immigration because I'm a Mexican immigrant myself who came here legally. And could you debate me on immigration, Parker?
Sure. Yeah, can I ask you a question about immigration? Do you think that undocumented immigrants are negative or bad for the U.S. economy?
No.
Okay, no?
You said undocumented specifically, right?
Yeah.
No. We can recognize that they pay taxes, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is that taxation without representation?
Mm-hmm.
Do you support that?
No, I think they should have a pathway to citizenship. If
Okay,
they haven't
so
committed
you
a violent crime or a bad crime.
Okay. So that's a wild statement, but I'm just making sure you don't support.
How is that a wild
taxation
statement?
without representation?
Karina donated me $5 on Venmo to randomly.
Hold on,
mute him.
I'm
had
muted.
to.
We don't reward people who like break the rules. Like if I were to sneak into Disney right now without paying for a ticket and they catch me in Disney, would they just give me a free ticket? They're like, "Hey, you got away with it. You snuck in here. Here's a free ticket." Or would they
No,
ban me for life, similar to what actually happens in real life in our
So
country?
in the so like let's look at our overall governmental processes for immigration, right? If it is the case that we have a law right now where it takes too long for people to get in the country, I think it would make sense to not go and abide by that law and to violate that law specifically to make your family better off. For example, if it took 90 years to get into the country on average, right, through the legal processes, would you think it's wrong for someone to violate the legal processes by coming here?
Yeah, you get into a slippery slope of committing crimes because you think it's morally right to do so. So, like, if I was starving to death, it's like morally correct.
I'm waiting to hear a response to my question.
I'm telling you, no, it's not. It's not right. It's not right because again, you're going down a slippery slope where it's okay to commit
No.
crimes because it's beneficial to you.
Yeah,
So
I'll give you examples. I'll give you
Parker, I'm trying to
examples.
make the argument. So just because you're poor doesn't mean you get to break rules and
Can I
break
give him
laws.
let me give him an explicit example. This is a horrible position that you have here. If it was specifically a law if it was specifically a law that you had to inform slave owners of runaway slaves specifically when they were running away, do you think that you would be morally obligated to uphold that law, or do you think it would be morally justified to violate the law by lying and saying that you don't know where the runaway slaves went to because it is the case that you wanted to like preserve their lives?
That's exactly what I was gonna say.
Right. So you're pointing out the fact that people had different morals back then, right? People were pro-slavery back then,
my
which is
God.
wrong.
Is he going to respond
Which
to
is
what I just
almost
said?
like what it's almost.
Is he
No,
going to
I'm still
respond to
waiting
what I
to
just said? The law says this. What do you do?
Yeah, the law says this. Are you doing
You
something wrong if you
follow
violate
the law.
the law?
You
That
follow
law-
the law, then
I
you would
agree with
tell
what you're saying.
on the person who's running
Parker,
away
I'm
from a
trying to make
slave
the, I'm trying
master.
to make a response here.
I'm sorry. I just think that's crazy.
Parker, so this guy.
You think it's crazy to follow?
I talked to this guy for an hour. So this guy also
You
thinks
think
that
it's crazy to?
Donald Trump isn't like a pervert or bad guy, gross, disgusting, for walking into the changing rooms of the naked women and teens.
Debate immigration.
In fact, he said that he was.
Why are you
professional.
deflecting again?
I'm not.
Why are you deflecting?
I'm having it. This
Hold
isn't.
on, I want you to respond to my point.
Yeah. This is. I'm not deflecting.
me
In
and
fact,
Parker, Dean.
I want
Between me and Parker, Dean.
We'll wait for him to stop.
This is between me and Parker.
It's actually between me and Parker. I'm telling Parker who you are, and I'm giving him your priors insofar as why you are indicating crazy shit as it relates to the questions that Parker are asking of you now.
It's crazy to
This is
follow
not-
the law.
This is not a deflection because I'm not even
I'm still
debating.
trying to make my-
I'm just informing my friend about who the fuck you are. Don't just call anything that you don't like a deflection. I'm having a conversation with my friend about who he's debating. I'm giving him your priors. But go. Please answer Parker's question specifically. Once again, Parker's question is, if you were alive during American slavery and you had come across a runaway enslaved individual, would you be doing something wrong if you broke the law and did not return them to their slave owner?
So morally, if I had the morals of today, I would obviously help the slave, right? And that would be illegal then because the law,
So
that
it's
was
not
the law
always
back
wrong
then. And
to
I
break- to
understand
break
the
the law.
law. Dean, can I make my response without you interrupting?
Yeah,
Thank
so you're just conceding.
So again, I understand that you think because the law is wrong, therefore you can break the law. My argument is this law is not wrong because this law protects people. The reason you shouldn't immigrate illegally is because when you are immigrating illegally, you have to cross either the river, the desert, through jungles, using sea tails, using coyotes, which is what actually we need to end. Which is why Trump is against illegal immigration, which is why a Mexican like me who immigrated here, who has family in Mexico and has family that have tried to immigrate illegally, is wholeheartedly against illegal immigration because people suffer just as much as they suffer from being deported, if not more.
But before,
So if you
before
guys
we
are
go and
against
address a different
deportation-
point, can we finish the point that I was asking you?
Yeah, I told you, yes, I would help
And then
the
I'll
slave.
respond to this point. have a
Yes,
good
I would
response to
break
current
the
point
law.
again.
One thing that I wanted to address with what I said to you, I think we should say enslaved person, just to be clear here. But like as it relates to this, I want to address this. So you do think that you have to follow the law, even though the law clearly violates your like moral beliefs? Because
That's what I'm telling you. It doesn't violate my moral beliefs, and I just told you why. Because these laws protect people.
Okay, so
from
wait,
coming-
so to clarify, in the example that I provided you, you would lie to save someone's life, right, and save someone from being enslaved again, right? So that's
Right.
what you would do. But you're saying in the
Exactly.
example, that we provided, right? Specifically with the 5 to 7 years on average for someone to get into the country, it's not an unjustified law. So justify specifically it taking 5 to 7 years on average to be able to legally enter the country. Why do we need that 5 to 7 year long?
You don't need that. You can step foot on U.S. soil and claim asylum. If you're referring to someone having to be a resident for 10 years or 15 years before becoming a U.S. citizen, I fully support that. My parents went through that. We were residents for 10 plus years before we became U.S. citizens. I think someone does need to be a resident first.
No, I mean, for many people, 5 to 7 years just to get into the country, in often circumstances.
Process are you talking about? Because people can claim asylum and you're instantly in the U.S.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean you necessarily have a valid claim for asylum. So if you don't have a valid claim for asylum, well, then you would just be deported as soon as it is the case that they were determining that you didn't have a valid
How long do
claim
they
for
have?
asylum.
How long do they have to claim asylum?
I don't know. I think it's like a few months or a year or something like that.
It's a full year. They can be in the U.S. illegally for a full year until they claim asylum. Go ahead, Dean.
I'm confused what that was a response to.
That's the response to you saying it takes somebody 5 years to come into the U.S. No, you can come into the U.S.
Yeah, legally. Like if they don't have a valid asylum claim,
Asylum is
in order
legal.
for them to, if they don't have a valid asylum claim, then it wouldn't be legal for them.
Right, but they have a full year for them to decide if they have a valid asylum claim. Meanwhile, they're in the U.S.
Yeah, but if they want to come through the country legally, because you're saying every mechanism of
asylum
coming
is
to the country-
legal.
But the process that you're referencing is that you're saying that that's not the way that you think that they should go into the country. So the way that you think that they should
not
go into the
against
country
that.
is through legal means. And I'm saying if it were to go through specifically legal means, again, given that they don't follow through the asylum process because it is the case that they don't have a valid asylum claim and they know that, it's going to be the case that they go through the other legal process, not the asylum process, because that doesn't apply to them. So in that specific circumstance where they go through the typical legal process, in that circumstance, do you think the 5 to 7 years on average to be able to get into the country is justified?
That's where I asked you, where are you getting that? Like, for what? Where are you getting that? How? For what process are you saying it takes 5 to 7 years? Should they get a visa or what?
I got you. You can say what you want to say.
Because I mean, to get a visa for the U.S., it usually takes weeks to months.
Okay. Earlier, you conceded your whole position.
Okay, Dean, go ahead.
Great. Yeah, you told us that you don't like the fact that undocumented immigrants face bad conditions when entering into America with the use of undocumented means, and you don't like the fact that undocumented immigrants face bad conditions when deported.
Exactly.
This is why I hold.
We ended legal immigration.
This is why I hold to a leftist perspective on immigration. All right, and I'm even going to take it one step further than you. It's not only the fact.
And what's the leftist perspective? Because I mean, Reagan gave amnesty.
If you interrupt me again, I'm going to kick you. Good boy. Yeah. So my perspective is that for all of the undocumented immigrants that are already in America, I agree with you. I don't like the fact that they face negative conditions when deported, nor do I like the fact that the American economy and American citizens face negative conditions when they're deported. Okay? Our economy suffers. Okay? We have $100 billion removed from the available tax bill per year because that's what they pay in taxes. Our GDP growth slows by $300 billion per year. And our labor force is weakened because we're forcefully removing millions of individuals from it. Right? Not to mention, I don't like the conditions that undocumented immigrants have when they're in America at all, right? They can't get a license, they can't drive a car, they can't get a loan to buy a house, they get lower wages on average because they have less bargaining power, right? So the very obvious solution here is we don't like the conditions that undocumented immigrants face because they're undocumented, and we don't like the conditions that we would face and they would face if they were deported. Well, what's the last option? Amnesty. Right? Give every single undocumented immigrant that has not committed a prior violent offense a fast-tracked pathway to residency or citizenship. So point number one. Point number two, okay? You said you don't like the conditions when they face when they enter into the country with the use of undocumented means. Me neither. This means that we need a what? End undocumented entry. What is the only effective way to end undocumented entry into America in the long term? It's to remove the incentive.
Well, after the seatbelt.
What is the incentive
that too.
for undocumented entry into America? Unattainable, slow, expensive legal means of entry. That's why I also support. That's why I also support as many legal means of entry into America as possible to facilitate a fast-track entry for anybody that wants it that doesn't have prior violent offenses. So that's why I believe your view actually justifies the leftist perspective on immigration.
And I agree. There is incentives. One of those incentives is birthright citizenship, which is what Trump is trying to fix.
Okay, great. Well, because you didn't respond to anything of what I just said.
I just did. I just said you're right about.
No, I didn't talk about birthright
said you're right.
citizenship. I talked about the conditions that undocumented immigrants face, the incentives
Right,
that
and
they
we
have to
agree
enter
on that.
into the country with the use of undocumented means, and what the better solution is with the undocumented immigrants that are already in America, and what we should do with our current border policy. Because
we
you didn't
agree that
respond.
it's for removing-
Because you didn't.
We agree we should remove.
Let him. He's crashing out.
We agree, Dean. We agreed we should remove.
We'll wait for him to stop crashing out.
We agree.
Anyways, thank you. I hope his crash out is over now so I could continue to talk. So because you didn't respond to anything that I said, and I guess seemingly now you're saying that we agree so you can see the position, and you've been on the live over the 10-minute provision that I gave you when you first joined, we're going to go to kick you again. I just wanted to give Parker a good idea of the person that I dunked on for over.
That was definitely brutal. And I was going to cite specifically the Cato Institute. Immigration wait times from quotas have doubled. Green card backlogs are long, growing, and inequitable.
Yeah, we're going to go to get the next guys up here. If you're MAGA, let us know down below in that chat. We're going to get you up here, y'all. We're going to get you up here, y'all. What is going on? Do you support Trump?
Yes, I do.
How old are you?
I'm 18.
Great. Before we start our conversation, I got to thank a couple people here. Nina, thank you for the $20 over on Venmo. Let's get 200. Nina W's. Nina says, every time you mute him, I take a sip of beer. Please continue. Nina, you must be shit-faced right now. Thank you for the $20, Nina. As well as Remy with a $10 over on Venmo and Hannah with a 10. Guys, please show some love to Hannah and Remy down below in that chat. I'd also like to thank Paige and Becky with a 5. Karina with a 5. Monica, thank you so much for the $10. Carissa with a 2. I appreciate you guys so very, very much. As well as Anna, thank you so much for the $10 on PayPal. Jason with a $15 for waxing in his ass. And I appreciate you guys so much for the love. But take it away. Tell us why you support the worst president of your life, Donald J. Trump.
Okay, so, well, first I wanted to say, if I interrupt you, it's not intentional. There was a little bit of a lag when I came on here, so I'm not intentionally trying to interrupt you. Also, the second thing is, you had asked earlier from someone to have a source cited for how much, like, money was spent for immigration during Biden's administration. And I have a site sorted.
How much money was spent on immigration?
Or sorry, on like the integrity, security, and enforcement
of the. I know they spent more than Donald Trump spent in his first term. A whole lot.
Yeah, so like $150.7 billion spent.
Yeah,
towards...
they spent a shit ton of money on the Border Patrol and then CBP. Yep. What's the relevance?
No, I'm saying that's how much money was spent towards housing them in like what is that called? I'm sorry, I don't know much.
Like social safety nets for undocumented immigrants.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's also false. I know that the site that you're giving. So that's going to be a PDF on House.gov from the House Republicans, right?
No, it's a Newsweek article. You said it could be an article cited in.
Well, Newsweek is citing the House Republicans. So yeah, that's not true. So the reason why that figure is distorted and incorrect is because it includes the costs for education of the citizen children of undocumented immigrants. So basically, in order to come up with a figure that undocumented immigrants cost our government $150 billion per year, you have to include citizens as non-citizens. So I don't think that can be done in good faith. And I mean, I'd like for you to prove me wrong by maybe naming off like the particular federal systems that benefit undocumented immigrants to kind of come to the conclusion that like that $150 billion is actually going to them and not their citizen children.
Okay. If I can find it at some point, I can get back to you on that point. I have one more other thing I wanted to bring up.
Go for it.
When you were talking about Israel and Palestine, I just wanted to bring up that the only time that the U.S. has ever done anything other than tried to aid, the only time that we've ever even aided people that were non-NATO were Vietnam in the Cold War. And so, like,
that's not
we
true.
have no...
That's like so false. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, that's like unbelievably false.
When else did we provide support to other countries without
South Korea, Iraq, Ukraine, and I bet the list could go on and on and on and on and on and on and on.
Yeah, like there's plenty of countries that are not NATO that we sent help to.
Yeah, didn't we have like a whole like federal department for that, USAID?
Before NATO existed, we helped Europe.
Yeah, a whole like Kuwait. We had like the USAID is like literally just funding for other countries.
Yeah.
Well, I guess I'm just curious. What is our obligation? Because if Israel is our ally,
Wait, obligation like help like Palestine?
yeah.
Yeah, because they're like babies are getting like ran over by tanks. Like I think
No,
that if we could
I
like give
believe
them
all
funding to like keep more children from starving or getting decapitated, and
Yeah.
it does do that. Like I'd say like you have a pretty good argument for a moral obligation existing there, right?
Right. I mean, like I'm just saying that.
Like think about this. Like any funding that we like would give as humanitarian support to Palestine, it's gonna be
Right.
like marginal, very low compared to like overall annual like government revenue. Like it may be 0.000001% of all money taken in. So like imagine that you make $100,000 per year, and 0.000001% of that is like maybe a penny or two. And do you think that, and if you could spend that penny or two to prevent like the unnecessary deaths, cruel treatment, and starvation of like, you know, like 10,000 children, would you do it?
Spend to help.
Two pennies to stop
Yeah.
like the unnecessary cruel death and starvation of like 10,000 kids. Would you do it?
Yes.
Okay. Do you think I might even
yeah.
be able to argue that you might even have a moral obligation to do it?
Yeah.
Right. So that's why maybe I'd say that we have like a moral obligation to support Palestine.
Well, I'm just saying because allies
Or
are
like
like
at the bare minimum, like just stop supporting Israel.
okay. I just don't understand why we would have allies if we're not going to support them.
That's actually
And
a
they
good
didn't
question.
start
No,
it,
that's
though.
that's great. Why would we have allies if we're not going to support them? You make a great point. We should stop being allies with Israel. Yeah.
Yeah.
Great point. I agree. 110%.
Okay. Awesome. I mean,
But instead, Donald Trump wants to cut off allyship with Europe, with Canada, right? And he wants to threaten like annexing Canada, right, and taking Panama and Greenland.
Yeah, and if like we are supporting somebody, this would be the inverse of your argument. If we are supporting somebody, then we should be allies with them. Okay, like we were supporting Ukraine, we should have been allies with Ukraine. Ukraine should have been allowed to join NATO. Boom, great point. Honestly, best points I've heard yet today.
I just came up here to learn more, honestly, and I just wanted to find the citing for what you were saying earlier and give you that. But thank you for telling me a little bit more about your side of what you support. Appreciate it.
Of course, have a good one. I also saw a couple people in the chat talking about what happened in Boulder. Like, yeah, that's terrible, man. That's like so fucking bad. That was honestly terrible. I was really scared last night, y'all. I was really scared last night. I like sat there and I like called around to like my friends and family down there, just to make sure that like, you know, everyone was okay.
Cookie
they
King
weren't hurt.
Mox, Cookie King Mox,
Good
Cookie
job.
King Mox.
That like everyone was okay, they weren't hurt, and to figure a little bit more about what was happening. But I'm not gonna lie, that was pretty scary when I heard about that. You know, got a lot of people I care about there. Dallas, thank you for the $20 over on YouTube Super Chat. St. Dean, it's my birthday today. Thank you. Thanks for educating people. You and Parker are doing an amazing job. Just watch YouTube about every day. Love you guys. Take care.
Leave. What is this? What the hell I'm so confused.
Did they show anything bad?
No, I just assumed because they had the camera on that they were.
Okay.
And I didn't really look at it. So that might have been just their arm.
Yeah, I mean, I think that was just our arm. By the way, when like people come up here and turn their camera on, don't like you and me have you and me have a moral obligation to not look away. You and me have a moral obligation to make sure that we are looking at exactly what they're showing on the camera. Like,
Yeah, I'm sorry.
you and
sorry,
me,
chat.
we
Like,
gotta
I just-
look. We gotta look.
I have that response if someone just turns it on. And it's not like their face or something. I'm just immediately just like, like that's the response. I'm sorry.
But seriously, Dallas, once again, thank you for the $20 and happy birthday, man. If everybody could please show some love to Dallas down below in the comment section. That is ODAYALYS. Happy birthday. What's up, Lily? Are you MAGA?
Hi. I'm English, by the way, but I have to say something to both.
I'm sorry. We are only looking to debate Trump supporters. I'm sorry that I got to kick you. We're going to move on to the next guest, Christy. If you are part of the 12.5 thousand people watching the stream and you enjoy what you see and you'd like to support me, you could find my Venmo, my PayPal, and the link tree in my bio and TikTok. I get 100% of those proceeds. They go straight to me. You could attach your message. I'll give you a shout out on live and read the message out on live. As well as if you're watching over on YouTube, you can find my Venmo, my PayPal, and the pinned message in the chat. What is going on, Christy? Are you MAGA?
Yes, I am MAGA.
How old are you?
I am 65.
65. Ooh, what's something that like a 65-year-old would know?
What?
What's something like
What's
a
your-
65?
what's your birth year?
Yeah, for sure.
My birth year. Why do you need to know that? I already told you I'm 65.
You're not 65.
I'm 65.
Why do you have
Yeah,
like?
I'm 150.
Why is everybody in the chat saying I'm not
I'm
65?
150 years old.
Wait, if you're 65, then how come you were posting like teenage girl content?
That's my daughter.
Yeah, Christy. Yeah, for sure. Let's go to move on to the next guest, everyone. Let's get that next guest up in the box. Al, if you're in that queue, make sure that you support Trump. Holy cow. Where are the Trump supporters at today? We can't find them, everybody. Let us know. Let us know. Let me know. We'll get you up here. We'll get you up here. We'll get you up here. All right.
So rough. That was so rough.
So-
Everyone keep tapping that screen. Let's get to 4 million likes on TikTok. If you're on YouTube, make sure to like the stream. I see Dean does not have enough likes. Get him to 1,000 likes right now, okay?
Mindy, thank you for the galaxy. I honestly never even asked people to like the stream. I just don't even think about it.
I always do.
We got the next guest loading in right now, y'all. We got the next guest loading in as we speak, everybody. All right. Hello. Oh, they left. They said goodbye. They said goodbye. See you later. I'm going to head out. I'm going to dip. I'm going to hit the road. Hello, Blake. How old are you?
It's not an anxiety pen.
It is. Shut up. You don't know what you're talking about. You don't know. Blake. Rosie, are you
run
MAGA?
away, run away, Blake. Run away.
Rosie, are you MAGA?
Oh, I'm so sorry. I was double tapping.
No
You're good,
worries.
you're good.
No worries. All right, guys. I should
I'll help you
probably.
out.
Yeah, please do help me. Please do help me, man. I'll go to repeat the rules for everybody in the queue. Make sure that you're at least 18. Support Trump and want to come up here and debate. Lucy Goosey, you support Trump?
No, but
Child, liberal child. We got everybody joining, guys. Stop fucking joining. Stop breaking the rules, please. Appreciate you for the money gun, King White. What's up, Samuel? Do you support Trump?
I just have a super quick question. I'll keep it like super quick.
No, I'm sorry, man. We gotta enforce the rules, or people will keep breaking them. Batman's toe, you MAGA?
Well, yes, okay. Hello, everybody.
Hi.
How's it going?
Are you MAGA?
Yeah.
Okay, yo, what's up? Cross,
I love that
football,
motherfucker, that
football.
motherfucker.
I have a feeling that you're 5 years old. Are you a fetus? Cross, football. Come on.
Come
speak.
on.
Cross.
It's gonna be like a
football,
12-year-old.
football. God is king. Football, cross. They're definitely 12. Okay, wait. I'm so sorry. We were focused on that guy, but this Batman's toe guy said something interesting. What were you saying?
I said I love that orange motherfucker.
Why?
He's like a circus peanut, and I like him.
Why?
Have you heard of circus peanut?
I think I have, but I don't know. Tell us why you like Trump.
Oh, okay. I guess
He
for me, the
doesn't.
choice-
He was just saying he likes that he's like crazy. Is that what you're saying?
No, that's not what I was saying. I was just making.
Maddox, you support Trump?
Yeah.
How old are you?
Fetus.
Logan, you MAGA? Logan's not here. Michael, you MAGA?
Yeah.
How old are you?
I'm 18.
What time is it?
Guest box is so brutal, man.
But we gotta we have to work for these debates. Isn't that crazy? SB, you MAGA?
Nah.
Okay, then stop joining, bro. All right. We're gonna try something new here. We're gonna try something new here. So if you want to come up and join, oh wait, Robert, hi, are you MAGA?
Yes, I am.
Are you driving?
No.
Okay, could you disconnect your phone from Bluetooth? It sounds like you may be connected to like your truck's microphone or something.
Can you hear me now?
A billion times better, man. Before we hop into our debate, I got to thank Lizzie. Thank you for the $10 over on PayPal. Same thing with you, Anna. Thank you, Anna and Lindsay, both for the $10. I would also like to thank Ariana with the $5. Thank you so much, Ariana. You guys are so incredibly kind. Take it away. Tell us why you support Donald Trump.
Yeah, I just think that he creates a lot of jobs, and that's the main thing. Like just the jobs that he's created since he's been in office.
Job creation. Okay, I'm not convinced that he's good at job creation. He is making like after-tax income lower for 80% of Americans. It means they're less likely to spend the money that they do have. That's definitely not good for incentivizing business growth. Not to mention that the first quarter of this year, we saw stagnation in investment in American industries and a reduction in the American GDP that does not sound like a cohort of macroeconomic indicators in which would indicate job growth.
Yeah, we've also seen unemployment since Trump got in office increase by 0.2%, and we've seen GDP decrease by 0.3%, accounting for inflation.
Ah, very nice, Parker. Good points. Very good points. Blink, thank you for the $20 over on Super Chat. Blink says, hey, Dean, just wanted to say thank you for the content. I've learned a lot about politics from you, and man, I did not know how uneducated people are. Keep up the great work. Blink, thank you for the love. Can we get 200 Blink W's? That is BLINK down below in the chat for the $20. That is incredibly kind of you, as well as a very kind message. Katarina, Umaga.
Hi, Dean and Parker. No, I am not, but I have some important.
Well, I kicked you before you said important. I don't know. Usually when people come up here and preface that they have something important to say, it actually can be important. You should join the Discord. Drop it in there. I'll make sure that people flag me. Yaz, what's up? You MAGA?
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, you MAGA?
I would say I'm on the fence.
Okay. All right. Well, yeah, is there anything...
My family is...
Well, how about this? What's convincing you to not just hop off that fence and go full on leftist? Tell me. Explain it to me.
I guess it would be... I like that some of the things Trump is doing, but at the same time, I don't fully support everything he does.
What is he doing that you like?
I like that he's implementing like immigration rules a little bit better.
Okay. What's your favorite Trump immigration policy?
I'm not really familiar with any of his policies, but I know that he has started to implement like ICE more, but I don't necessarily agree with just deporting whoever and the things I've seen him do like that.
Okay, I just feel like we aren't really getting like a coherent stance off of you. Like, I guess if like...
That's nasty!
I guess if we're gonna have something to debate, like you're gonna have to be like clear on like what the stance is.
Oh,
you know?
okay. I guess I don't necessarily. I'm not like super pro Trump, so I might not be the best person to debate. So.
Oh, okay, yes. Well, I mean, hopefully that I'm able to convince you to get off that fence just by tuning into the debates that we do have on this platform. Appreciate you for coming up, though. Let's move on to the next guest. Shane, thank you so much for the $20 over on PayPal. Shane's in the chat. Shane says, I've just discovered you. I've now listened to 5 of your 4-hour-long videos at work. Learning a lot. You're awesome at 20. Really just wanted to hear my name said in front of 12,000 people. Yo, all right, Shane. Well, he donated just to hear his name said in front of 12,000 people. Honestly, so it's 13,000 right now on TikTok. And then it's another...
I love you.
Oh,
appreciate
you. And then it's another...
I love you.
Appreciate you. And then it's another, let's see here. It's another 3,000 on YouTube. So it's a total of 16,000 people plus whatever Parker has. So 17.5 thousand people in total. So Shane, I'll say your name in front of...
That's fucking ridiculous.
17.5 thousand people. Shout out Shane, everybody. Now all 17.5 thousand people know your name.
That seems ridiculous to think about. I try not to think about that. Like it... Right now, I can't even fathom that many people. Just to be totally real.
Yeah,
I really can't. I could not, to be honest with you.
That's kind of nuts. That's a lot of people, man. Oh my God, you're right. I guess I haven't done that math before. What's up? Your favorite Republican? Are you MAGA?
Yeah, and it sucks. Actually, I forgot it was in the request box.
Showtime. Hey, what's going on? You MAGA?
You leaf blowing?
No, that was the neighbor. I'm inside now. It's quiet.
Hey, so do you support the worst president of your lifetime that's ever lived, Mr. Fascist Rapist Donald J. Trump, 34 convicted felon that likes to perv on naked teenagers? Is that your guy?
Yeah, I support his transgender policies.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay, I have a question. What percentage of the population do trans individuals account for?
1%.
Less than 1%, 0.1%. So tell me why trans individuals account for 0.1% of the population, yet trans individuals account for, I don't know, maybe like 35 to 45% of the substance debated and discussed on this live.
Dean, by the way, I think I've seen 0.5%.
0.5. I appreciate you.
0.5. That's at least what UCLA says.
Oh, did I get muted? I responded.
Oh, wait, have I talked to you before? You're the trucker, right?
No. Yeah, from like last week.
Yeah, I remember you. I have talked to you before. I don't actually remember particularly enjoying our conversation. I think I ended up like not liking you that much. Kathy! Hello, Cassie. Hi, Kathy Smith.
Hello.
Hi, are you MAGA?
Yes, I am.
Oh, Kathy. Why?
I really like his views on abortion.
How old are you?
And I'm 42 or 43, sorry.
You're 43?
Whatever.
My birthday is 1982.
You sound like you're like 18 to 24.
Okay,
like,
just be
I'm
honest.
sorry.
I'm 14.
Okay.
I'm 14. I support you, Dean. I'm sorry. I just like to
That's
troll.
rough.
Oh, guys.
I was saying 18 to 24 max.
Please stop trolling, guys. I beg.
Jeez, 14, and they were saying, "Oh my gosh."
Hi,
bruh.
I'm MAGA.
Hi, you're MAGA. Why? Dude?
Yes. Well, I support Trump's foreign policy.
How old are you?
I am 18.
Perfect. Do you think that you could disconnect like any Bluetooth device you may have connected? I'm not really
Yeah,
hearing you
sorry.
too well. Great. While you're doing that, Brian, I'd like to thank Brian for the $25 donation over Venmo. Brian says, being a boss. Appreciate you for the love, Brian. Shout out Brian down below in that chat. I would also like to thank Erica for the $20 over Venmo. Erica says a month or two ago, you were debating another brain dead Fred, and you kept on saying, how can you prove? And now proof lives rent-free in my head. Erica, you've been watching forever. I appreciate you. I love you. Huge shout out to Erica and Brian. You guys are awesome. Take it away, man. Why do you ever support such a type
Can I
of
say
president?
thank you to a few people?
So I support his foreign policy and the way he acts towards foreign relations. And my reasoning is I like how he cut back funding with Ukraine and Israel.
I don't think he cut back funding to Israel. In terms of Ukraine, right, that gave more power to Putin. Do you think Putin should have more power in this conflict?
I think that Putin shouldn't, but I think that the money should be spent in the United States, and yeah.
Okay, so if you don't think Putin should have more power, but then you do think the money should be spent in the United States. Are you saying, all things considered, given the fact that it is the case that there is going to be, you're just essentially saying that you'd rather the money be spent here at home than defend Ukrainians from Russia. So you care more about the money being here at home than you care about like Russia having more power, or Putin having more power in the region.
Oh, real quick. I think it's actually like I'd prefer money be spent on Ukraine than here at home in America by Trump right now. Can I tell you why? Yeah, because when Donald Trump spends money here at home in America, he spends it on like the stupidest shit ever. Like for instance, the big beautiful bill, $3.8 trillion in debt-related spending. It cuts the after-tax income of 80% of Americans. Boom. So basically, our government is spending $3.8 trillion to make you make less. Like that's insane. Like I think it's more productive to spend that money in Ukraine. But like definitely.
Well, using
terrible.
Biden, sorry to cut you off. Using Biden's infrastructure bill, we can spend money on like in the United States. We can do acts like what Biden did.
We did do that spending.
Yeah, then I just
and
wanna-
the ones who are cutting the funding for those spending policies were Republicans.
Yeah, I also just want you to keep in mind, like our government kind of has a lot of money, a lot of money. They spend a lot of money too. So it's like $32 billion per year in Ukraine to like lower the likelihood of a third world war on our contractual agreement that we made with them in the 90s called the Budapest Memorandum, and to like prevent further slaughter and ethnic cleansing of Ukrainians. I think like those are all like very good causes. They're not only like ethical, but they're also just like security concerns. So like I don't really understand why you would contest us giving money to Ukraine. But what I do know is that like Putin wants you to think that we're giving too much money to Ukraine. I mean, we have leaked Kremlin documents where he's like all happy about how his propaganda has been working in Western media. You know, like he launched propaganda campaigns to get you to think that. But I just think it's like so indefensible when you consider the fact that you know, like moral concerns because it prevents further ethnic cleansing of Ukrainians, contractual concerns because we contractually agreed to support them if they were ever invaded in the 90s, and then like national security concerns when we step down, other countries step up, and now we have countries like the UK and France discussing putting their boots on the ground to fight and kill Russian troops. Okay, well that's going to get us closer to a third world war. And these are my 3 reasons why I think you're wrong. Would you like to critique them?
Well, if we let the British and the French fight against Russia, won't they
Wait,
also?
how old are you?
I'm 18.
What year were you born in?
I was born in 2006
What month?
in October.
I don't believe you. Sorry, man. If you're MAGA, let us know down below in the chat. I think he was a minor. We're gonna move on to the...
Thank you to a few
Yeah.
people real quick. Dan, thank you for the $10. Thank you so much, Dan. I appreciate it. Edward, thank you for the 28 Canadian dollars. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much, Edward. Can we get some W's for Edward in the comment section as well? Thank you so much, Edward, and W Dan for the $10. Thank you so much. As well as Haley, thank you for the $2 on Venmo. As well as Andrew, thank you for the $5. I said my Iowa homie. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. As well as Sandra, thank you so much for the $5. Thank you.
And then Janelle, thank you for the $10 on Venmo, and Audrey with a 5. I appreciate you guys. What's up, OG? Do you support Trump?
Hell no.
Oh, dude, based. Yo, let's go.
Nah.
Fuck yeah, that guy's a goat. Hell yeah. All right, guys. Geez, it is proving very difficult for us to find somebody over the age of 18. I'm just gonna put this out there. Yo, if you're an adult Trump supporter and like you are too scared to come up here and debate me, like just keep in mind that like children are coming up here and debating me. So why won't you? Ever thought about it that way? What's up, Kiara and Destiny? Are you guys MAGA?
Yes, I am MAGA.
Okay, that's Destiny. What about you, Kiara? Kiara's not here. Destiny, how old are you?
I'm 20.
You're 20? What year were you born in?
2004.
2004. Why do you support Donald J. Trump?
What month, by the way?
November.
Okay.
Yeah, so you were making a claim earlier that if someone says something, he means to say it and there's eyewitnesses to account for that, then you should consider it valid. And you also talked about how there's not really good claims, so I'm just going to kind of say this real quick. Jesus claimed to resurrect. There was eyewitnesses that saw him there 2 to 5 years. In Corinthians, it's the first verse.
Yeah, you're trying to debate us on Christianity. We're here to debate about why you support Trump.
Well, yeah, I was just kind of giving you that recommendation that there was
None of those were first-person accounts.
But like, we're not here to debate that. We're here to debate why you support Trump.
Oh, was my accent better this time, or was it still bad? Okay, but I will give you my actual reason why I do support Trump.
Get the fuck out. Moving on to the next guest. Let us know if you're MAGA down below in that chat. We'll get you up here. Holy shit. So hard to define people to come up here and debate. RJ, thank you so much for the $20 over on Venmo. RJ says, can you ask the thousands of people watching to follow me at Redacted on TikTok? No. Yeah. Let me know if you want your $20 back. I'll give it back if you want. What's going on? What's up, ESA? Do you support Trump?
Yeah.
Okay, how old are you?
I don't know. I'm like on the fence right now.
Okay.
What do you say?
How old are you?
18.
Great. What year were you born in? And they left Austin. Are you MAGA? Austin's not here. Oh, fucking hell, no! Kara's back. No, Austin, come back, baby. Please, please, Austin, please. Okay, all right. We're going to go ahead and
Your guest box is the worst I've ever seen. I think it's the Cookie King viewers that are like so young that are all in the box.
Niggle.
Hello, my name is Zane. I'm 22, born in August 26, 2002.
Hi, do you support Trump?
I support Trump, yeah.
Okay. Real quick, RJ, thank you for another $20 on Venmo, saying that makes me sad. RJ, I'll check your account out. If I like what I see, I could give you a shout out. You know, he says that you do political debates. I just got to check you out first, RJ. But I appreciate you for another $20. Show some love to RJ down below in that chat. And Zane, take it away. Tell us why you support the worst president of your life, Donald J. Trump.
Yeah. So I support Trump because he's pro-crypto.
Zane, I hate you. I hate you. Okay, first and foremost, let me state my qualifications. Do you know what this is?
No, I don't.
Okay, it's a ledger.
He doesn't even know what that is. That's brutal.
It's so this
even
is
I know what that is.
Is that right?
So this is a ledger. It's a cold crypto wallet. I've been keeping crypto on this cold crypto wallet since like, I don't know, 2020, 2021. I'm intrigued with crypto. Always have been a little bit less interested now. But anyways, the point is, why I'm telling you this is because I like crypto too. Okay, crypto's cool. All right, story of Bitcoin kind of sick. Okay, it's a special interest of a few. It's sick. But my point is that voting for a president because they're quote unquote pro crypto is completely nonsensical. The first reason why I say this is because like crypto is a decentralized currency. When you say that you're going to support a president, support a central, like state or leader of a state because they like crypto. I mean, like, what does that mean? Does he want to centralize crypto? Like, maybe that's a bad thing, right? And then additionally, he's not good for crypto, although he says he likes crypto. He's actually bad for crypto, right? He's bad for crypto because he's bad for the general stock markets, and crypto generally follows the stock markets. We haven't broke even in the S&P 500 in the first 100 days of his presidency. Bad for the markets. Ethereum is down. Bitcoin did just hit an all-time high, but I don't think that we could attribute that to Trump, and maybe it'd be higher right now if he didn't damn near cause a recession because of his tariffs. You know what I mean? Not to mention that more people are going to invest in crypto the more disposable income they have. That's a given, right? And people are going to have less disposable income because of his tax policy that reduces the after-tax income for 80% of Americans. So for those reasons, I think that Donald Trump is bad for crypto. And then one last reason here, like what crypto needs right now is more regulation. So crypto companies know what they can or can't do. Right now, they're just getting hit with random fucking fines from the FEC. And they want regulation. They're begging for regulation so they know what bounds they can operate in and out of. But like Donald Trump is obviously anti-regulation. So he doesn't want to give them those guidelines, and they'll just continue to get hit from with random fucking fines from the FEC, and it's going to piss everyone off. So yeah, that's why you shouldn't have supported Trump if you support crypto.
Okay, I totally agree with all of that. Actually makes a lot of sense that way. That's why I like Trump. I agree with Trump. His morals.
Oh, you're lagging.
You're cutting out.
You're lagging really bad. I'm sorry, Zane. I got to kick you just because you're lagging really bad. What's up, Hank? You MAGA?
Dean and Parker, what's up?
Are you MAGA?
Yes, sir.
Okay. What about you, MAGA for life?
Yes, sir. Since 2020.
Yes, I am.
Okay,
Hank, so why?
Okay, Hank. Why do you support the worst president of your life? You silly goose.
Because you're deporting illegals out of our country.
Oh, very nice, Hank. Everyone, real quick, round of applause for Hank for giving an argument. So, why is mass deportation good? Give me a reason.
Why mass deportation is good?
Yeah, why is it
because if you don't come in here legalized, then you shouldn't be here at all. You need to be put where you fucking belong, man.
All right, Hank.
Sign your papers, come to our state, legalize, then you'll be fine.
Okay, all right. I think you're a troll.
Yeah, I am.
Take that damn hat off. Never put that shit back on. Okay, MAGA for life. Are you a troll?
No.
Okay, why do you
so
support
why?
the worst president of your life?
My main reason is, of course, basically the same reason as that other guy. Illegal immigration. He's getting all the illegals out of our country.
Getting all the illegals out. Dude, why? Okay, listen, man. Mass deportation objectively makes America weaker, okay? It slows GDP growth, removes millions of individuals from the labor force, slows government income, reduces the amount of money that we have to spend on social safety nets to make average qualities of life higher, not to mention that it's had this bleed over effect into impacting undocumented immigrants' constitutional rights, and even the constitutional rights of citizens. And a good example would be Abreu Garcia. So how the hell, like, I just don't see the good generated from it. Like, I feel like the one-liner that I always hear is like, oh, they came in illegally, punish the crime and get them out. Bro, okay, it's like, listen, the incentive for people to enter into our country with the use of undocumented means in modern American history has been the fact that our government has completely neglected and ignored the legal means of entry into America, making them unattainable for so many people. It's not like people want to be an undocumented immigrant. They don't want to not be able to drive, have an ID, have a social security number, file for a tax return, get a loan to buy a house. They don't want that shit, okay? They just want a higher quality of life for them and their families. So how about we reform our border legislation, make it easier to legally migrate into America, deport undocumented immigrants with prior violent offenses, but everybody that's left gets a fast-track pathway to residency or citizenship. It's good for them and it's good for us, and it sure is hell good for our country. And if you truly believed in an American first agenda, you would be standing up right now and clapping for me, calling me a patriot, because I just put this country first.
Well, I believe that you always reference that like illegal immigrants are like less likely to commit crimes, but how can you know that when most of them are illegal and a lot of these crimes aren't even reported? Like you cite PNAS that studies, like crime and stuff like that. and it says that illegal immigrants are 2 times less likely to commit
Yeah,
crimes.
because that's going to be arrest rate. So basically, you'd have the burden of proof to demonstrate to me that crimes are 2 times less likely to be reported if they are committed by an undocumented immigrant in order for them to be as likely to commit crimes as citizens. You can't do that, though.
Which is a very heavy burden, something that you're not going to be able to establish. So you arguing that like more crime comes from undocumented immigrants is like very hard for you to establish.
Right. Also, just keep in mind, it's like kind of commonsensical that they'd be less likely to commit crimes because if they do, they get caught, get deported. Right? There's a lot of incentive that they have to not to commit less crimes. So I'd say that's like a pretty hard point to contest.
All right, I could see that. Yeah, but like still, I think they should just go through the legal means of entering.
If you were listening to me, I already responded to this because I knew that's what you'd say.
Frick. All right, but if if you wanna go on to like one thing I also see you say a lot is like that Trump refused to give the DNA for E. Jean Carroll's like grape dress.
You sure do hear me say that a lot. That is something I say a lot.
Well, I have an article right here from The Guardian that says that the judge rejects Trump's DNA offer in his rape defamation case.
Bias in media is sure as hell compelling. So the title of that article is true, but what I'm saying is also true. Do you want me to explain to you why?
Why?
Because he refused to admit his DNA into the court to be tested against the DNA on the dress during the period of discovery, which is the only period in any court case where evidence can be submitted. But then once the discovery period was over, he knew he could no longer submit new evidence. He then tried to submit the new evidence of his DNA, and the judge rejected it because discovery was over. That's like kind of getting rejected at Chick-fil-A on a Sunday or told to turn around at the entry to a Walmart because you don't have a shirt on. It's just kind of the standard of rules and regulations inside of the courtroom. And seemingly you should respect this because you're not just a member of the party of law, you're a member of the party of law and order, and that is order in the legal system.
Yeah, I guess I could respect that, but I mean, I still believe that like why would she wait so long to accuse Trump of raping her? Like I'm not saying that he didn't. I'm just asking why she waited so long.
Yeah, well, I mean, so I don't think that you are owed a response to that question because I think that question is just ultimately victim blaming. But she did she did give her reasons in the civil proceedings. It's because she was embarrassed and she didn't want her parents to know. So she waited until her parents passed away to write a book that included her story.
And I just want you to know, it is actually very, very common for victims to take decades to come out. So, like, that's actually what would be expected for victims, is that it takes decades.
Yeah, I mean, like, I'm not saying that it never happened. I was just genuinely asking why it waited so long. Like, I'm not trying to victim blame at all.
That was her reason.
Okay. Also, like, I mean, did he not bring up the economy right now very high? Like, isn't the economy doing pretty well? At least gas is very cheap for me.
So no, actually GDP has a net decreased by 0.3%, accounting for inflation. Unemployment has gone up by 0.2%, right? We're not in good economic trends. For several quarters, we saw multiple percentage points of GDP growth accounting for inflation. And then now we saw a huge shift the other way, which is not good, right? And practically no other developed economy has seen that.
And then also, I also really want to point out here that right now our production of oil in America is the same it was when Biden left office. We're not producing any more oil in America now than we did when Biden was the president. But our imports of oil have dropped by 44%. So what does this mean? The overall oil supply in America is lower. Could we agree?
I could agree if you have a source for that.
Yeah, my source is the EIA, the Energy Information Administration. So you'd expect if we had an overall lower supply of oil with the same amount of people buying gas that the price would go up. But it hasn't, it's gone down because there was a lot of uncertainty that existed in the future markets for oil and gas, that the price of a barrel of oil in the future markets crashed after Donald Trump's Liberation Day tariffs. So people were buying a shit ton of really cheap oil with the use of their futures, which is the only reason why we have lower gas prices now. But I'd like to point out that that's not a good thing. That's actually a recession indicator.
How is that a recession indicator?
Because the markets were crashing, people were less confident and unsure about the future would bring, pulling their money out of the market, putting it into their savings account, and spending less.
Okay. Also, I just wanted to say something. My profile and my name, like MAGA for life, there, like I just did that so that you would get me up, because like on my regular profile stuff, like I was never allowed up. So I'm not really super MAGA. I just support them. That's just like, I'm just saying. But
you simply just got lucky, by the way. But yeah. So in terms of this, so like you can't really mention any good economic policies seemingly that Donald Trump supports that you think are benefiting you or your set of economic conditions. And actually, we can give you policies that he's passing on through the big beautiful bill that will increase your taxes, that will disproportionately cut taxes for the rich. 80% of people will have increased taxes under the big beautiful bill.
So by rich, what bracket are you talking?
Top 20% is going to have more in after-tax income. Top 20% of income earners on average will just have an extra $500 per year. But the top 1% will take home an additional $25,000 in after-tax income per the Center on Budget and Policy Priorities.
Well, I mean, that would affect me positively. I'm in the top 20% right now.
Yeah,
okay.
But like, think about it this way.
Then
think about it this way. You're in the top 20% of income earners. You take home an extra $500 every 365 days at the expense of the bottom 20% of income earners losing $2,200 every 365 days, plus the other 60% of Americans that will lose an after-tax income as well. I wouldn't say that your marginal benefit would justify the extensive levels of harm to the majority, not to mention that those extensive levels of harm to the majority would create overall worse economic conditions as the average American would be suffering, which could make you suffer consequentially as well.
Which that's not even counting tariffs, is it?
I think I don't think it is. I don't know. I'm pretty sure it's just including all the provisions of the BBB.
Yeah, because so that tariffs will be on top of that. That would be even worse.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. Well, wait. What mic do you use, Dean?
The Shure SM7B.
All right. Well, that's the only question I wanted to ask. I'm not even MAGA. Just letting you know.
Okay. All right. I'm no meme. I think it's been around an hour and a half since we had a Trump supporter up here to debate.
I know. I think the whole time I've been up here, we haven't got a debate since the very beginning.
Yeah.
And it was like that fucking insane guy.
Yeah, can we just point that out, everyone, that right now we have, 11,000 people in the TikTok live stream. There is not one person out of the 11,000 people in this live stream that is willing to come up here and debate us and tell us why they think Trump is a good president. I got a couple people to thank. LaDonna, thank you so much for the $50 donation over on Venmo. Thank you so much for the love, LaDonna. Everybody, please show some love to LaDonna down below in that comment section, literally right the hell now.
As LaDonna, thank you for the 50. Thank you so much, LaDonna. Let's get some W's for LaDonna in the comment section right now. Thank you so much, LaDonna.
As well as Sam.
Finally.
Mr. Metaman, thank you for the $25, Metaman. Everybody show some love to Metaman down below in that chat. Says shout out to Greta Thunberg and the whole Freedom Foundation. And the whole crew on the Freedom Flotilla. I don't know how to pronounce that word. May they come home and succeed in their endeavors. And happy Pride Month. Trans Pride. Also, if you're in Ohio, call the senator and vote no on the big beautiful bill. Preach, Metaman. Thank you for the $25 donation. Shout out to you, as well as Jessica with a $50 donation over on Venmo, saying USAID and other programs created soft power, which not only protected relations, but also made America the leader of the free world and democracy. Trump destroyed us on the world stage. I couldn't agree with you more, Jessica. Thank you once again for the $50 donation. Show some love to LaDonna, Metaman, Jessica, and then Rose with the $10. Thank you so much. All right. Austin, you're MAGA, right?
Well, no, but I have just a question because I think you're running into troubles because I think maybe if you don't articulate your arguments around just attacking Trump and maybe just kind of stick to the values, maybe you'll have more success with these people. Because I find personally in my life, when I debate people about Trump, they take it as like a personal attack, and I'm seeing that kind of in your live where they'll admit you're right, but then they'll double down on their shit just because of cognitive dissonance. So have you thought about maybe approaching these debates without circling around Trump or Republicans?
Well, I mean, it's definitely going to center around Trump because he's the president. But maybe I could, attack Trump a little bit less, see if that leads to an empirically better outcome for the productivity of these conversations. I don't know. I'll try it out.
That's yeah. I think because I mean you have beautiful values, you know.
Yeah, because I will say, like, I literally do attack Trump just for fun. You know, like the first thing I say,
it's
why
easy.
do you support
It's
the
easy.
worst president of your life? You know, it's literally just for the memes.
But it's also to like normalize the fact that he is a horrible person, and we need to be like recognizing of that. We can't dumb down our response to it just because it is the case that some people don't like how the truth operates. Because in reality, we have to engage with it. That's just the reality of things. We have to engage with reality. It is real that Donald Trump is a horrible person, and we have to be reconciling with that. Just because some people don't like to hear that he's a horrible person doesn't mean we should limit the messaging on the fact that he's a horrible person. We just need to ramp up the messaging about like what's good about Democrats or good about an alternative, right? So it's not just that Trump is a bad person. It needs to be more than just that Trump is a bad person, but it also needs to be very clear that Trump is a horrible person, and we need to not back away from that. We need to stand still on our values because that's very, very important. That's why I keep talking about this. Why I think it's incredibly important, especially after the election, especially after the point he won, because it is the case that there's a huge portion of the population that is very, very sympathetic to his perspective, and oftentimes they are misled, oftentimes they're misinformed, and these types of lives can convince them otherwise.
That is my exact point, though. I agree. They are fully misinformed, but it's because they're attaching themselves to an idol that they see, themselves in, I guess. So if you were to more appeal to just, the values of humanity that you're arguing for, people may be more willing to do some introspection and kind of, I guess.
Also, I have one more thing for you.
Right, and then I want to move on because I want to debate a Trump supporter.
Yeah, just one more thing. Oftentimes what you will see on the lives is someone being more defensive than what they would be if they were off live, because it is the case that they're in front of a lot of people. But it will get them to then in the future think back about that, and when they are in private, they oftentimes will change their views. That's why Dean and I have had people come up and tell us they've changed their mind, right? Literally weeks after the conversation that we've had with them. Right? We know people that we've had debates with that they've changed their mind after. Typically speaking, they're not going to concede on the spot up on the live, but they will oftentimes in reflection do so. Sorry, I don't mean to talk too much.
All right,
No,
Austin,
I respect.
I appreciate you for
guys'
coming up.
opinions.
I'm going to kick you now because you're not a Trump supporter, but I appreciate you for joining up and bringing up your critiques. Nicholas, Too Bad, and Laurel, if you three can unmute, that'd be great. Are you guys Trump supporters?
Absolutely.
Okay, that's Nicholas, right?
Yeah.
Okay, how old are you?
17.
Dude.
Yeah, this is getting ridiculous. Here. This is getting ridiculous. So I got this. I'm going to say, chat, please listen here real quick. If you're trolling in the chat, please just back out. Like, we just want to get some debates right now to engage in some productive dialogue. Please just, like, if you're trolling, come back a different day. At least come back a different day. Right? Please don't come on today. We just want to get some debates right now. We'd really appreciate it. So.
Yeah, I also just want to put it out there. I do this for 4 hours a day. I've spent the last 2 hours of my life talking to people that are not adults from America that support Trump. Like, eventually, like the trolls that are like liberals, underage, that maybe like me and just want to come up here and like say hi or do something other than be an adult that supports Trump that wants to debate me. Like, you guys are going to like run these streams into the ground. Like, eventually, I'll have to stop doing these streams because if every day turns into like, these 2, 3, 4 hour spans where we don't have any debates, all of a sudden the debates are gone, right? And this will only, what I'm saying right now, will only further incentivize adults that support Trump to come up here and troll. And I actually want that, because then I'll be able to trap you into debating me. so for the many of you that are hearing me saying this and being like, yes, this is awesome. If this means that Dean will stop doing his lives, the only people that don't like the fact that I do these lives are going to be the Trump supporters. So I'm actually trying to incentivize y'all to come up here. Laurel, what's up? Do you support Trump? Not even here. Moving on to the next guest. We got Jammin loading into the stream as we speak, everybody. What's up, Jammin? How old are you?
Hello.
Jammin, hello? Jammin, hi? Okay, they're not here. Moving on to the next guest. We got two loading up into the box, everybody. Sarah, thank you so much for the $50 over on YouTube Super Chat. Let's get 500 Sarah W's. Sarah says, I got into a bad car accident Saturday and I was scared to go. Holy shit. And I was scared to go to the ER due to not having access to good healthcare because I make too much for government assistance. I think everybody should have universal healthcare. I appreciate you for the $50, Sarah, as well as Brianna. Thank you so much for the $20. Saying, guys, if you love and support Dana Parker, please respect the boundaries. Base, tell yeah, Brianna. Thank you for the W message and the W Dana. Thank you so much, as well as Ryan with $5 over on Venmo. What's up, Two Baked? Are you MAGA?
Yes, I am.
Okay,
I'm 18, October 22nd, 2006.
Great. So Bethany and Audrey, thank you so much both for the $10 on PayPal. Take it away, man. Tell us why you support Trump.
All right, so it's mainly just the borders and abortion. So
okay, do you want to talk about abortion?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
I've been like dying to talk about people. I talked to this guy last night, and like he sucked at talking. Anytime I said nothing, because I'm not the best at like debating, so every time I would do something bad or something, he would like shut up and like put his head down or something. It's kind of annoying. Anyways, though, so he kept on saying that the fetus is
okay. Do you want to debate, Dean?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I guess I can.
Okay, yeah. So what's your position?
Okay, so here, let me just say this: would you agree that a fetus is or is not a human?
They're not a human until they're 5 years old.
So,
yes, a fetus is of the human species. Yes.
I consider it a human being from the moment of conception.
Okay, so if you kill a
Dean and I's
fetus,
view kind
you're
of
still
differs
killing
here.
a human, right?
Yeah, it's a human from the moment of conception.
Okay, so if you kill the fetus, you're killing a human. So you
Yes.
say it's okay to kill a. Is it okay or is it not okay to kill a human?
Yeah, it's absolutely fine.
It's fine.
So long as they don't meet our set of criteria, right? Past or present and future subjective experience.
Yeah, I don't think that a fetus possesses any intrinsic moral value. And my reason why I say that is because I fail to identify any attribute about the fetus that I should morally value.
Okay, that's fair, but you're still taken away because it's not that it might be a life; it will be a life, and it will grow up.
I'll take it one step
already is a
further.
life, too.
Yeah, it's not that it will be a life in the future; it's that it's already a life right now. Like, could you tell me what's
Right.
valuable about that life? Tell me why I should value fetus. Take it away.
Okay, so why should I value your life right now? Let's just say that.
Oh, sure.
Why should
Well, I
your
mean, I
life?
think that this is a deflection. You're not answering my question, but I'll answer it
No.
nonetheless.
It's going to. It's going to.
Oh yeah, sure. But yeah, because I think that I exhibit a particular set of criteria. That being,
So now you
well,
think
you're interrupting me.
Okay.
You exhibit
Sorry, I'm
criteria.
sorry,
He
my
didn't even
bad,
get to the
Go ahead.
criteria.
Yeah. I just told you that I exhibit criteria, and you already know what I'm saying. Okay, I'll bake it down. I'll make it simple. It's because I experience subjective experiences. I have sentience and I have consciousness.
Okay. So now, if you were a baby, you think it would be okay to make you not be able to do all this stuff?
Like if I was a fetus?
Yeah. And like.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind if my mom like offed me.
Yeah, prior to the point of sentience.
I guess a better
now-
way to say it is if my mom got an abortion, there wouldn't be anything wrong there. And I mean, I could dispute this argument because basically what you're saying is if my mom got an abortion, I wouldn't be here today. It seems like abortion's wrong.
Yes.
Okay, well let me ask you a question.
Yes.
If my mom pulled out, if my father pulled out when my dad and my mom were engaging in sex on the night of my conception, I wouldn't be here today. Does that mean that my dad pulling out would therefore be morally wrong?
Well, not exactly, because you were never actually a fetus, though.
That doesn't matter
So
because I still wouldn't be here today. And your wrong maker was the fact that I wouldn't be here today if my mom engaged in the action of an abortion. Therefore, an abortion was wrong. Well, if the wrong maker is just merely the idea that I want to be here, if my dad pulled out, I want to be here. Therefore, it'd be wrong for my dad to pull out.
Okay, but now we get into the part where he didn't want the baby to begin with. Okay, and now, so say if I was a girl and I went out to go get laid, right?
Based.
And I went and got laid. Okay, I got a baby. That's my fault. Okay. Now him pulling out. Okay, that's good. That's you stop that from happening. So now there's no way that the baby.
I could actually give you a really good argument to show that it's actually not the fault of a woman that engages in intercourse that she got pregnant. I could convince you. It's actually I know that you think that it makes intuitive sense to say that it's the woman's fault, but I think I could give you a very compelling reason why it's not.
Well, it's not always her fault.
I don't think
their
it's her fault in
their
any
attitude,
circumstance.
right?
Are you ready?
Yeah, go ahead.
Right, because you can't consent to the biological process of conception. Let me give you an analogy. I understand that you're saying it's her fault because she consented to the act of sex, and it's the act of sex in which led to the biological process of conception. However, I don't think just because the act of sex ran the risk of the action that she could not control, which is conception occurring, makes conception occurring her fault. Imagine this. You were driving on a road. You consent to being in your car on the highway. You acknowledge the risk that a drunk driver will T-bone you, okay? A drunk driver T-bones you. Is it your fault that they T-boned you?
No, it's not, and that's a good point. But it can also be a point where you accepted the fact that you were drunk, right? And then you got in that car, and then you go
The other
go
person.
hit
You're talking about the other
someone.
person, not the person who
talking
got
about
hit.
we're talking about the sober driver that gets in their
I-
car to go to work, that acknowledges the
yeah.
risk that a
Oh,
drunk
no.
driver could T-bone them. But even if a drunk driver does
Yes.
T-bone them, it's not their fault, right? And like, you could say that it's the fault of the drunk
Well,
driver. That's fine.
If anyone's T-bones me, it's their fault. It's not mine. If anyone T-bones me, at all,
Exactly. That's the
because-
point that
Right,
Dean is making.
right, because
given that you believe that it's
Right.
not the person who got T-boned fault, right? Even though it is the case that they chose to drive, demonstrates the point very simply.
Yeah, even though and you would say
Yeah.
that it wasn't your fault because you can't control another person T-boning you, right?
Right.
Okay. Well, if you engage in sex, you can't control the idea that conception may or may not occur.
Okay. Well, and then again, you don't have to have sex. Some
Just like
people,
then
they have
again,
to
you
drive,
don't have to
right?
drive.
I mean, how are you going to get your food? How are you going to go to work? How are you going to make money?
Yeah, go on public transportation, walk or ride a bike, or move to a
That
city
costs
in which
money.
does not require. So does driving a car, or move to a city in which does not require like a car to get around.
Arguably, driving a car, it's more expensive at first, but once you have it for a while, it makes up from it because
Not
driving
compared to
public
biking or walking.
costs every time. And then
for a
now
lot
the
of
thing with
people,
walking
even like
is
publicing. How about this?
Okay,
Like, I just
so-
want to make it clear. Like, let's just assume somebody is like driving their car for something that is not mandatory, required, or essential at all. Like they're driving their car 3 minutes away to a fucking DQ. Okay, that wasn't mandatory. That was an essential, and they still could have gotten DQ by walking, but instead they decided to drive their car. They get T-boned by a drunk driver. Is it their fault?
no, it's not.
Right. So like the necessity doesn't matter.
All right. Okay, I get your point. So, okay, now let's move on to the border because
No.
I also want to talk about. Okay,
we
no,
haven't
no.
finished our conversation about abortion. Can you concede that like
Okay, go on. Okay,
there's
okay,
actually
go on.
like no good reason to consider conception the fault of the woman that decided to engage in sex?
Well, I mean, yeah, I said that was
Okay.
that's a good point.
Great. So then why shouldn't she be able to get an abortion?
Well, I don't know.
Rip.
I mean, you kind of changed my mind a little bit. Yeah. I'll admit that.
Bass, bro.
Bass.
Okay. You got anything else you want to talk about?
Yeah, the border.
Okay. What about it?
What about the border?
Okay. So you said earlier when I think the first guy talked about border or the second one, I don't remember. You said that getting illegals out of our country, and I say illegals as the ones that came in illegally, okay? And now, I don't believe that our country is in the right moment in time to let anyone besides American citizens into our country, okay? It's not, we're in a pretty bad crisis.
You
I'll
can't.
admit
You
that.
can't. You cannot quantify. You cannot justify that claim.
We're not in the right shape
Why?
to let any more
Why?
people into our country.
Why?
Why? What? Okay, here. Everything else you talked about justifies that.
Why?
I'm not the
Why do you
best.
think America's not at a place where we should be able to let anyone else into our country?
Because, okay, so obviously the stocks are down. Everything's down.
Markets are
It's
bad.
like-
the economy is rough. Okay, immigrants are good for the economy. If anything,
Okay,
if like the economy is doing
now-
bad right now, this would be like the best time to have more immigration.
It would? Can you explain?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, because it grows the economy, it grows the productive capacity of the economy, and it helps stimulate the growth of the economy by increasing the amount of demand, which will increase the amount of jobs that are then existing in the economy.
Okay, so when an illegal, okay, not okay, when
An
someone
undocumented immigrant.
legally, yeah, okay, no, when a documented immigrant comes, so then when they come legally into our country, most of the times we pay, like we give them some sorts of money to give them a house, do whatever. If they can't do that themselves, we are not in the situation to be able to do that.
So,
Would you agree?
so we actually don't give free houses to undocumented immigrants. They don't even like qualify for housing assistance like Section 8.
I think he said documented immigrants.
Like legal immigrants?
Like
Yeah,
some
legal
yeah,
immigrants, yes.
legal. Yeah, they would qualify for the same social programs everyone else qualifies for.
And they still, on average, as a demographic, are net providers into the American economy.
Yeah, did you know
I'm
that
sorry, I didn't hear what you
documented?
said. Just children stopping upstairs. I didn't hear what you said.
Ted,
Yeah. So go ahead.
documented immigrants qualify for the same benefits that you do. However,
Right.
documented immigrants still yet as a demographic are productive providers to the American economy. Let's say that I believe you and I agree that starting right now, all new documented immigration into America should stop. And 1 month from now, I'm able to implement that as codified federal legislation, retroactively removing all legal immigrants that have entered in the last month. Under your view,
Right.
that should have a positive impact on the economy, right?
It might not be like the best effect on it, but
Exactly. See, your position,
But-
as defined by
but-
you, is reliant on the negative economic implications that
Okay, but
documented
this-
immigrants have. But obviously,
There-
if we were to stop more documented immigration or remove documented immigrants as is, it's going to hurt the economy. So, how could it hurt the economy to have documented immigrants in America? And how could it also hurt the economy to stop documented immigration or remove documented immigrants from America?
well, okay. So if we remove them, well, it's too late. They already got the money, so they can stay in. But we shouldn't let more come in,
Bro,
right?
but like the thing is
And
that
now-
you're not understanding is
No, no, no,
documented
let me
immigrants
finish. Let me finish.
give
Let me-
us more money than we give them, referring to
Can I ask
us
him
and
this
we
question?
as the federal government.
All right, Too Big. I have a
Okay.
question. Are you okay with 1 to 3% population growth per year?
I don't really know because
You wouldn't be okay with 1% population growth a year?
I said I don't know because I don't really know the percentages that well. It seems like a little, but it could be a lot, just like 3% of your
What year were you born in?
GD,
What year?
whatever.
What year were you born in?
2006.
Okay.
So then, what specific number would you be okay with in terms of population growth? You're saying you would want less than 1%?
I mean, I don't know. I don't know what is a good. I'm not paying attention. I don't know what a good growth is, but
You would
what I
assume
would-
you would assume it's above 1%, right?
I have no idea.
Would you assume it's around 1%?
Maybe. I don't.
Okay.
I don't
okay.
know.
So do you know that's like over 3 million people a year?
No, I didn't. That's why I said I didn't know.
So then you should be totally okay with like people coming to the country to that degree, right?
I don't think we should let people come to the country.
Sorry, he's not giving an argument. I kicked him. We tried to like have him give an argument. He couldn't give it. He didn't respond. Too dense. Hello, Owen and I'd like to start off with You said, Dean, you're scared to let me in to tell you the truth. Could you expose the truth?
There's 104 days of summer vacation and school.
Fuck you. Owen,
Is
are
he
you MAGA?
seriously calling us Phineas and Ferb, bro? That's crazy.
Are you MAGA?
Oh
Owen?
yeah. Hello. Hello.
Hi, are you MAGA?
Well, I'd say I lean a little more right. Yeah.
Okay, how old are you?
What was that?
How old are you?
I'm 18.
Nice. Well, before we hop into a debate, real quick, Selin, that is Selin. Thank you for the $30 over on PayPal, guys. Let's get 300 Selin W's down below in that chat. They say, Dean, thank you for always standing up for my country, Ukraine. It gives me hope that there are people who still care about peace. Lots of love, bro. Lots of love to you. Listen. Ukrainians have a very, 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 very special place in my heart. Slava Ukraine, all day, every day. 10 toes down. WU, just WU, and W every other Ukraine. Like, man, I care a lot about Ukraine, man. I really do. I care a lot about Ukraine. Thank you so much for the $30. That is incredibly kind of you. As well as Brian, thank you so much for the $20 over on PayPal. You know, it's actually funny, Parker, because when we were in Texas, there's somebody that came up, and they were a Ukrainian refugee. They were like my age. They were 20. It was this 20-year-old woman that went to the Texas university we were at. And she was talking about how she, immigrated here as a refugee because her fucking house was bombed and destroyed, and she was displaced from her family, and then became a refugee in America. Man, I had a longer conversation with her, and it was really touching. And I hope she's doing all right. If you're who I'm talking about and you happen to be watching right now, I hope that you're doing all right. Brian, thank you for the $20 as well. Thank you so much for the love, guys. Let's get 200 Brian W's down below in that chat. I really appreciate you so much. Huge shout out to Brian down below. As well as, let's see here. One more right before we hop into the debate with Owen down here. Got one more person to thank. And you know what? Nope, that was all. All right, take it away, Owen. Why do you support Trump?
People were saying he left. People were saying in the chat, I support Parker and Dean, but the Phineas and Ferb comment got me.
I mean, aren't they like really fucking smart and shit?
Yes, no, it's
W?
I've made this joke about us before, that you're Phineas and I'm Ferb.
You're based? What's up, Duncan? I feel like you're 14.
No, I'm 18.
Yeah, just
Cookie King mocked you.
Just the name Duncan. Just the name Duncan is like, it's like a Gen Alpha name. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, there's some people my age that are named Duncan, but I feel like it wasn't like super popular until like a couple generations younger, if that makes any sense. Let's go and get that next guest. 5 slow up in the box, guys. If you're in that queue, make sure that means you support Trump, y'all. We got that next guest loading in. Wow. Hey, what's going on? Do you support Trump?
Yo, I'm sorry to waste your time, but I really need to know this question. Can you let me know if I should eat mac and cheese or ramen noodles?
Oh, man.
Mac and cheese.
I don't know, man. It depends on how hungry you are. Mac and cheese has more calories. It's going to be a little bit more filling than ramen. So, I mean, if you're just like want to eat, not because you're super hungry and just what tastes better, honestly, some of that chicken ramen slaps. But I mean, if you want something a little bit more filling with a few more calories, go for that mac and cheese. What's
It
going
really
on?
depends
Golden?
on like the type of ramen. Like some
All right, how's it
ramen
going?
is just so good, and it's way better than any mac and cheese. But like mac and cheese, like kind of slaps at the home,
Golden, you support Trump?
I do. Ramen's definitely worse.
Are you driving?
I don't know if I agree with that one.
Okay, there.
I do. So I wanted to.
I'm sorry. You're
Hello?
driving. What's up, Brad? You support Trump?
No, I do not support.
Then please follow the rules. Moving on to the next guest. Everyone, just give us a minute here to get that next guest loaded up into the stream. What's going on, Green? Do you support Trump?
Crap, Lois.
Okay, all right. All the trolls. Oh, man. Hi,
Nigger.
do you support Trump? Oh, it's just a 14-year-old saying the N-word. Jack, fuck you. Moving on to the next guest. Give us a second. We got Bobus loading up into the stream as we speak. Gracie, thank you for the $5 over on Venmo. I read your message and I will check that out. What is going on, Bobus? Do you support Trump? Okay, you're not even here. That's sweet. What about you, user? Are you MAGA? Great, not at all. Not at all. Hello, Colton. Are you MAGA?
Yes, sir.
Great! Before we hop into our debate, thought I'd throw that out there. If you're watching the stream and you like what you see and you want to support the stream, you could find my Venmo, my PayPal, and the link tree in my bio. Get 100% of all the proceeds on those platforms that go straight to me, and you can attach a message that I will read out on live. You could also find it in the pinned message over on the YouTube stream.
Okay, so are we
Colton,
going to
take it away,
debate or
tell
are you
us-
just going to beg?
You think I'm
Okay.
begging?
Okay.
Wait,
No, I'm
wait,
joking.
wait. Defend that position.
What is it?
Defend the position that I'm begging.
I've heard you multiple times. Like you just keep
Colton,
asking
how
for
old are
money.
you?
So let's debate.
Colton, how old are
I'm
you?
19.
You're 14.
19, what's your birth year?
No, you're 14.
What is it?
You're 14.
2005.
You don't sound 14, but you're 14.
Okay.
The one post on your page says.
So are
you're
we going to
14.
debate? Or...
No, we're not going to debate
No,
because
'cause
you're
you're
14. Hello, Vinny. Do you support Trump?
Yes, I did.
Oh, you. Why do you support Trump?
Because all I know is, one day I'm talking to my wife. She's in love with me. And now she's scrolling through TikTok. Every time you pop up, she's got her eyes on your guys' eyes. And now I know I can't find any batteries in the house. They're all dead.
That was completely incoherent gibberish. What?
Yeah, all my batteries in the house are dead.
What is batteries?
What does that have to do with people watching our stream?
Wait,
I don't know. Just something about you liberal boys. Why does every liberal boy got to look so good?
Oh, you're hitting on us.
No, I'm not hitting them.
Oh, I just realized. Oh my god. I did not get what he was saying for a second.
Hello?
Oh! Oh,
Yeah,
that was crazy. Oh man.
I was like, because
Oh.
I would think you'd use a
Dude.
charging cable,
Hello?
right?
Dude,
like
oh,
you,
man,
who the
that's
fuck uses
nuts.
batteries, dude?
Vinny, that was too far, man. That was nuts. That was nuts, bro. I'm not gonna lie, man. That one went way too far, Vinny. That one went way too far, Vinny. That one went way too far. Holy fuck. Hello, MAGA God 2024. Do you support Trump?
Of course I do, Dean.
Oh, why?
First, I just want to say he's the greatest president in American history. So, I don't know. I just don't have a reason to not support Trump.
Dude, you're insane. He's the best. Okay, Irish chick, are you MAGA?
Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna talk to you instead of
Yes,
this fucking insane
yes.
cultist. Irish trick. Why do you support Trump?
Well, I live in New York, so the immigration policy is probably, first thing.
What specific immigration policies?
Well, just the fact of like when Biden was president, there's already a bunch of crazy people walking around in New York. So I don't know. It's just that a lot of immigrants were creating a lot of more crime, like on the subways.
Fun fact: you are statistically speaking 2 times more likely to commit all crimes than undocumented immigrants.
I don't know, because
My source.
there was like
my source is the
buses.
PNAS. Undocumented immigrants are 2.5 times less likely to commit violent crimes compared to natural U.S.-born citizens. They're 3 times less likely to commit all crimes, and then 4 times less likely to commit petty crimes.
I don't know. I see it firsthand.
No, you don't. No, you don't.
There's
You can't see per capita crime stats firsthand. You can't see that firsthand. Per capita crime stats are literally a statistical evaluation upon a large group of people. You cannot see that firsthand. That's a lie.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying like the difference of walking around. Like I take the subway. I live in New York City, so there is a lot less people since Trump came into office this time. There's a lot less. I don't know. It's a lot less chaotic on the trains. There's a lot. I don't know. It just seems like whatever he's doing is working.
That's
to
called a
get little
correlation
bit-
causation fallacy. What you're doing is you're associating that specifically you having a better time on the subway at this time in the year, specifically to Donald Trump being elected, comparative to it being any other factor that could explain that. Right. Secondly, as it relates to this, in terms of the subway, right, how would that be affected by the president's policies?
Because he's getting a lot of. I'm watching the news, and he's getting a lot of immigrants out of here. Like, I think today they were saying on the news that he upped the ante for.
Wait,
I
are
don't
you
know,
saying
something.
immigrants or undocumented immigrants?
Undocumented immigrants?
How do you know
sorry.
they're undocumented?
I guess I don't, but I'm saying
So
just
you're
like
you're assuming why that they're undocumented?
Do you assume that they're undocumented because the color of their skin is not white?
no.
Then why are you assuming they're undocumented?
Okay, so I don't know. It's just there's a lot less people. Like when I tell you, right before Trump took presidency, there were so many people that look like they would have been immigrants or undocumented immigrants.
How do you look like an
Flooded the
immigrant?
subway.
Listen,
I'm
listen.
so Irish.
You
How
look
do you
us-
Irish? We live in the United States of America. How do you look like an immigrant to the United States of America?
How do you look like an undocumented immigrant? Like immigrant, undocumented immigrant? How do you look like an immigrant or an undocumented immigrant?
I mean, they would. I don't even know how to say that. I'm not racist. I don't know why it's coming out like this.
Okay, listen. Okay, no, I hear you. Are you maybe saying that they look like an undocumented immigrant because they're Mexican?
Yes.
And there it is.
Yeah, that's
So,
literally fucking insane.
I said that I hear you, and I acted like I was on your side there just so I could get you to admit it. That's racist.
That's crazy. That's crazy that you see someone who's Mexican and you assume that they're undocumented because they're Mexican.
Yeah, that's Irish.
That's like fucking
That's
insane.
racism. I mean, think about it. Think with me hard. Also, unmute your mic. Click on your profile picture. Click the icon of the mic. Just hear me out, okay? Hear me out. Racism. Targeted discrimination towards a person or group of people because of their race. Okay? All right. Mexican, that's a nationality. So we're just gonna call this, like, because of their race, they're of Latino descent. I don't even. I mean, what's the race? Is the race Latino, guys? I just want to make sure that what I'm saying is true. What is the race? Hispanic? Is it Hispanic? Hispanic.
Yes.
There we go. Hispanic. So you're basically okay. Hear me out. Sorry. How to get my facts how to get my ducks and my facts in a row. So can we agree that racism is like targeted discrimination towards somebody or a group of individuals because of their race?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So
Yes.
you just told us that you were targeting discrimination, i.e. assuming an individual is an undocumented immigrant because of their race. So that is racism, definitionally speaking. What is your response?
I'm not I'm not good at articulating under pressure, but what I'm trying to say is, like, I've had a lot of encounters on the subway, like in broad daylight, and could it be just irony that the person didn't speak Spanish? And I don't know. There was like a lot of Spanish people that looked like undocumented immigrants sleeping on the trains, and
You can't
pushing
look
people
like
in front of trains.
You can't look like an undocumented immigrant. We've already clarified that you cannot look like an undocumented immigrant. So then why are you assuming that because someone, right, is Hispanic, that specifically, right, they're an undocumented immigrant?
Also, it's Latino. Latino's a race. Chat misguided me. I was right the first time. It's Latino. Sorry.
Yeah.
But Hispanic is an ethnicity. Being Latino's a race.
Yeah.
Oh, I guess it could just be irony that since Trump has took office, that I personally have seen less crime on the subways, and there has been less chaos in the city.
That's called the correlation causation fallacy. And again, none of the policies that Donald Trump supports would have led to that specifically.
Okay.
God,
all right,
just dude.
Is there anything else you'd like to add or talk about?
No, I mean, there's a lot of things.
Perfect. Shit, dude. I mean, fuck. Just trying to convince somebody of like basic common sense. I just wanted to be known. Like, this is something that should be taken seriously. Why? Because this is the direct consequence of Donald Trump. The reason why so many people like her think the way she does is because Donald Trump tells them and emboldens them to think that way. Okay, and it's so fucking damaging. Let me tell you, my grandma's a best friend. She's a immigrant from Mexico. She's like 80 years old. She was picking up her grandson from elementary school the other day. 2 older teenagers came up to her and said, "Get out of my country. Go back to your own country. You illegal insert slur here." Like, God, guys, be smarter than this. Just be smarter than this, guys, please. Yeah, now she's too scared to even leave her home. She won't leave her home anymore. So like my grandparents now, like I've been helping her like go out and get what she needs when she needs it because she won't leave her home because she's scared about like dying. Manu, yeah. What's up, Taylor? Do you support Trump? And like, they came to me. They came to me. I gotta tell you guys something. You guys could tell me if this was good or bad. I want you guys to determine. So they came to me and they were talking to me about like the things that Trump is doing because they know what I do. And you know, they asked for my input on kind of what Trump is doing, and specifically if like I thought she would be at risk for like getting like detained and deported by ICE. And I lied. I told them that she's at risk, but what I lied about is about like citizens getting deported. I gave them all the right information, meaning yes, like she's at risk, like that is reality, and that is the result of the Trump presidency. You know, look after her, keep her safe because she's at risk. But they actually asked about like citizens getting deported, and I lied. I said no. So they didn't like just go down the spiral of ever impending doom, and this sweet 80-year-old woman is like just like on like the verge of like just doom and gloom and like holy shit, you know. So I promoted the right messaging of saying like be safe, like you are at risk, etc. but I lied and I told them that citizens aren't being deported, so they wouldn't like die from stress and just anxiety and doom and gloom. I don't know. What are your guys' thoughts? You guys could give me your thoughts while we hop into this next debate with Taylor. Taylor, what's up? Do you support Trump?
Yes, sir. How's it going, Dean? How's it going,
It's
Parker?
going all right. Why do you support Trump?
So I am a registered.
Actually, wait, before we do that, can I thank someone real quick?
Yeah.
Oh.
Manny, thank you for the $50 on Venmo. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you for all you do to educate people. Thank you so much, Manu. I really appreciate the $50 on Venmo. Thank you so much. W's for Manu in the comment section, as well as I'm the Darkness. Thank you for the $10. Thank you so much.
I have one more too. Manu, thank you for the $50 over on Venmo. That is MANU. Thank you so much for the $50. Seriously, guys, show some love to Manu down below in that comment section. Manu says, as a girl with immigrant parents, I appreciate all the knowledge you and Parker drop on these bigots. Manu, I appreciate you for being here. Thank you for the $50 donation and the incredibly kind message. Show some love to Manu down below in that chat. But take it away, Taylor. Why do you support Trump?
So I am a registered Republican.
Right.
I do lean more towards conservative views.
Right.
But I am open. I do think that there's some good views and stuff on the left.
Based.
So I'm not a like far right. You know, I'm open. I'm pretty neutral. You know.
Yeah. Also, user 5675. You said that me and Parker are the real racists, and we don't even know it. I invited you to the stream to come up here and to attempt to convince us of your views. But anyways, go ahead, Taylor.
But just one question, because I do tune into your lives a lot and watch these debates. I want to know your all's take on like the like biological men in women's sports. How do you all feel about that?
So specifically, I think that trans women should be allowed to play in women's sports, given that they meet these particular set of criteria, right? Multiple years of HRT and or didn't go through a male puberty. In those set of circumstances, there's no good evidence at all indicating that there's unfair biological advantages that would mean that it's unfair for people to play in that certain context.
Yeah, Taylor. Guess what?
Yes, sir. Yep.
More women have accused Donald Trump of raping them than there's T women in the NCAA. Why do you care so much about trans women in women's sports?
I was just wanting your all's views on it.
Okay,
just curious.
Fair. If you just wanted our views, it's curious. I guess, I don't know. First thought that comes into my head is like, it's such a non-issue.
But so another issue that I have that sort of comes up with the left a lot, or I've seen it on the news, is so like even I live in a small town, so but they're even talking about trans women using the same bathrooms and stuff.
Let me tell you a story.
know.
There's a Democrat. I forgot what state he's in. I think it was Kentucky, honestly. He was
That's
running
where I'm
for-
at. So.
It's funny. I think he was in Kentucky, and he was running for a seat in Congress in one of the districts. And he ran on while my opponent is concerned about the potties, right? I'm concerned about the potholes, right? And he basically ran on this agenda of the Republicans running against me don't want to make your life better, don't want to make your material conditions better off, don't want to fight for you and represent you in our federal government and make this state and this country better for all. They just want to talk about how much trans women suck, right? And I don't know. I feel like we see that a lot. I feel like the Republicans have very successfully created an enemy of trans people to a lot of Americans, including some Democrats. And they've done this to rally support around a very empty platform, lack of promises to make your life better, just fueled on hate and bigotry to make the life of trans people worse, right? Do you feel like you could see where I'm coming from?
I agree with you. I'm sure that there is some, just like racism does exist. You know, there are people on all sides of it, you know, black, white, you know, everything, you know. Racism is a real thing too. And just like what we're talking about with the trans community, you know, I'm sure there is some right-wing people that just hate them because of that. Me personally, no, I don't care what anybody wants to do with their life. I think everybody deserves to be happy, should be. But what I have a problem with is, like, if Dean, you wake up tomorrow and you decide you're a caterpillar, whenever I'm told that I have to acknowledge you as a caterpillar. That's what I have a problem with.
No one's going to do that.
but there is some.
Who? Jinx? Like, yeah, like, let's just talk about reality. Who?
I mean, just the bathroom deal is a big deal to me. Like, it was brung up about possibly
I feel like
in our public school though.
if you're
But it's different.
genuinely concerned with women's safety in the women's restroom, I bet I could convince you of the view that trans women should be able to use the space.
I mean, yeah, but I've also got.
Can I try to convince
a
you of the view?
12-year-old daughter.
I know. Let me try to convince you of the view here. Can we agree
Okay.
that trans women exist?
Yes.
Can we also agree that it's a reality that trans men who are females exist?
Yes.
Can we agree it's a reality that we either have to segregate the restrooms on the basis of sex, male and female, or gender identity, man and woman?
Yes.
Okay. Let me know if you get lost, because this argument is a little bit complicated.
Yep,
I'm with you. If we segregate the restrooms on the basis of sex, that means females use a women's restroom, and that would mean trans men use a women's restroom, right?
See, I don't agree with that.
Well, now you're just saying that you don't agree with segregating the restroom on the basis of sex. So what the hell do we do?
No, not necessarily that. It's
Well, trans men are females, right? And like you think females are women, so like that means that you think that trans men are women. Under your view, why do you think that
No.
some women shouldn't be able to use? Oh, so you think trans men are men?
hang on. I'm trying to follow you.
Okay.
Well, let me clarify. Trans men are biologically female, but they're men, right? Under your view, if you think that bathrooms should be separated based upon sex, then you're saying that trans men who are masculine presenting, who are biologically female, should go into the women's restrooms. But what we're saying is that if someone who is a cis man, who is a bad person and wants to portray themselves as a trans person in order to be able to get into women's spaces to take advantage of them, it is easier for them to claim that they're a trans man than it is to claim that they're a trans woman. Because it is the case that they don't have to change their presentation to go into those spaces. So it makes most sense to allow for like trans women specifically to go into women's restrooms, as it is the case that they are like more feminine presenting and typical, right? Comparative to trans men who are more masculine presenting and typical.
I don't know. I don't know that I agree with that.
Let me show you a picture of a trans man.
Like, what do you not agree with, like, in terms of like what I said?
I mean, now, do I think that's a hard one too, though, because of course everybody is different. You know, I'm sure that I'm sure that you would agree with me that that there is some trans women that are not good people.
So this is Buck Angel. Does Buck Angel look more masculine than I do?
I mean, I'm not going to throw shade on you, but
Yes, you're not.
I see what you're saying.
It's not shade.
It's
It is
not
not shade
it's
at all.
not shade at all. Does Buck Angel up here look more masculine than I do?
Okay, I'll go with you right now.
Does Buck Angel look more
Like
masculine?
objectively,
This
looks
does-
more masculine than both Dean and I.
Yeah, more masculine than Parker.
Okay.
Do you think that you might even be able to agree that Buck Angel looks a little more masculine than you?
I mean, yeah, I mean, I'm with you. I'm following
See
you.
what I mean?
I'm following
So Buck Angel is a trans man, meaning they're biologically
Okay.
female.
Right.
If I were to concede and adopt your view, Buck Angel over here would be using the women's restroom. Your view would imply that Buck Angel should use the women's restroom. If Buck Angel should use, oh, that's Tanner from the other day. If Buck Angel, don't worry about it. If Buck Angel should use the women's restroom under review, what would be stopping any like just piece of shit cis man from claiming they're kind of like Buck Angel and going into that space?
Like, what are you going to do? Genital checks? You going to look at their genitalia?
I mean, no, no, definitely not.
So then how do you determine?
Right? How do you determine?
Like
I said,
isn't this an interesting an interesting thought experiment?
You know, I mean, I lean more towards the right, conservative views, but like I said, I'm not
What
totally.
do you do with Buck Angel?
Definitely not arm wrestle.
That's good. That's good. That's funny. That's very funny. That's very good.
So I won't take up no more of your guys' time. Like I said, I was just tuned in. I just wanted some feedback on those two things because I don't see it get talked about very often. So I wanted
Taylor,
to all stick on it.
I'm
Yes, sir.
gonna recommend something to you that I don't recommend to everyone, but I think I should recommend to everyone. I think you should go back and watch the debate that you just had with Dean and I on YouTube on either Dean's account or my account. You can watch it back. It's literally like just on our live streams on our accounts.
It's gonna be the
And you
last
can-
debate of the live stream because after you, I'm gonna end my stream as well.
And like I think you like reflecting upon that and like watching it back might be able to get you to change your mind. I appreciate you coming up then.
Yep, no problem. You guys have a good night.
You as well. All right, that was the last debate of the stream. Everybody, I've been on here for 4 hours.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's fun. That is fun. You've been going through 4 hours very quickly, I feel like.
Yeah, it's been going by pretty quick. Maybe I'll bump it up from 4 hours. You know, like go from doing 4 hours to like 4.5 or 5. I guess the only thing for me is I really, really value just a life outside of debates. And
Here's what I would think you should do. I think you should keep the 4 hours, but you should do videos, record videos.
Yeah.
Right, for like 30 minutes after.
Yeah, just
or
do a
do
little
something
bit
like
more.
that, or join someone for like 30 minutes after, or do something with like 30 minutes after.
Yeah, it's
if you have the energy. If you don't have the energy, say no.
I guess my take is like, yeah, I have the energy. Like I'm not just like depleted on all energy and I could keep going. But like life balance, I figured out is very important for me. Because like before I started doing like the daily live streams and just being like super chronically online, I had like a really expansive social life. I was always hanging out with friends. I did fun stuff every single Friday and Saturday. And, I guess I was a very social creature. Now, following the debates, I've been less of a social creature. In fact, almost like pure isolationist. But, I value maybe like going outside when the sun's shining and driving around and running errands just because it kind of puts me out there a little bit more. But anyways, Parker, I'm guessing that you're going to go live.
Yep.
Where are you going?
I'll be
live
on for a few more hours.
What account?
I'm going to go into my girlfriend's account. Parker got a GF.
Cool. All right. Well, for everybody in here, first and foremost, I appreciate you for joining today. Make sure to hit that follow button on your way out. I'll be back here tomorrow. You already know it. If you're itching for some more debates, head over
Go
to
to YouTube.
at Parker Got a GF on TikTok or at Parker Get a Job on YouTube, and you'll find a handful of more hours. I appreciate and love every single one of y'all. Parker, I hope that you have a good rest of your day, man.
Thank you, man.
Of course. For everybody watching, I hope you guys have a phenomenal rest of your evening. And once again, see you tomorrow. Bye, YouTube. You always know that I end on y'all last. Peace out.